אין קפסולה לחוסן. הילד לא אכפת לו בדיוק כמה איומים קיומיים יש על ישראל וכמה איומים קיומיים יש על העם היהודי. הוא בסוף מסתכל על אמא ואבא. אם הוא רואה אמא ואבא, שלמרות כל הקושי, מצליחים לשמור על חיוך ועל אווירה נעימה, הוא יגדל בריא יותר בנפשו.
אז הצטרפו אלינו לשידור חי ביום ראשון, שני, 15 ו-16 לספטמבר, על נושא של החוסן. שלום, אני כאן עם רבקה ריבק, היא רכזת מרכז הלמידה בהקשיבה, ואנחנו נדבר קצת היום על התחום שבה היא עובדת, וגם איך זה מתייחס לנושא שלנו המרכזי השנה, שזה חוסן, לתת לאנשים את הכוח להתמודד עם החיים. שלום רבקה.
שלום.
קודם כל, מה השפיע עלייך להצטרף לצוות של הקשיבה?
אני מכירה את הקשיבה כבר הרבה שנים. אני מכירה את הקשיבה כחלק די משמעותי בקהילה שלנו. כשהם התחילו, הם רק עבדו עם נוער בסיכון, אחר כך זה התפתח לעזרה של חונכות בתלמוד תורה שבו אני עובדת. ראיתי את העבודה המדהימה שהם עושים. ואחר כך אני שמעתי על כל מיני מחלקות נוספות שנפתחו בבחינה רגשית וקשב וריכוז וכל החלקים הנוספים. וכשביקשו ממני לעבוד במרכז הלמידה, הרגשתי שאני יכולה באמת לתרום בחלק הזה. גם הצוות מאוד מקצועי, מעולה, חם. הרגשתי כן משהו שאני מכירה מאוד מקרוב.
אז את התחלת לעבוד פה בהקשיבה, ואם את יכולה קצת להגדיר לנו במחלקה שאת עובדת בה, מהן המטרות העיקריות של המחלקה שלך, ואיך את חושבת שהם ישנו את חייהם של המשפחות איתם את עובדת?
אז המחלקה שלי בעיקר מתמקדת על עזרה לילדים בתחום הלימודי אחרי הצהריים. ברגע שהם מגיעים לכאן, אחרי צהריים, יש לנו כאן שתי מסלולים, יש את המסלול של שיעורי בית ויש את המסלול של הוראה מתקנת. הילדים של שיעורי בית יקבלו עזרה בתחום השיעורי בית, והילדים בהוראה מתקנת יקבלו עזרה של מורות מתקנות לקשיים הספציפיים שהם מתקשים בהם. וכמובן, ברגע שיש פחות לחץ בבית בתחום הלימודי, יש יותר רוגע גם לתלמיד וגם להורים, ואנחנו מקווים שבאמת זה ייתן איזשהו מענה גם בבית וגם לתלמיד להתקדם ולהיות יותר פתוח להצלחה.
אז זה בעצם עובד בשתי רבדים. זה גם עוזר ברובד השטחי אולי יותר, שזה
ביום-יום.
כן, בלימודים.
נכון.
אבל אחר כך זה גם מונע לפעמים, או משפיע לטוב על המצב בבית, הרגשי, ככה אני מבין שזה גם...
כן, בוודאי.
וככה זה עובד גם בשיתוף פעולה עם שאר התחומים של
הקשיבה. כן. אז הילדים שבאים לעשות שיעורי בית, הרבה פעמים ילדים שנמנעים לעשות שיעורי בית אחרי צהריים, והדבר יוצר מתחים והרבה חיכוכים עם ההורים. וברגע שהם מפרידים את החלק הלימודי הזה, את הלחץ והמתח של הכנה למבחנים, הכנת שיעורי בית, והם יכולים לעשות את זה ברוגע עם מישהי מבחוץ, שלא קשורה רגשית לתחום, אז יש הרבה פחות מתח, וההורים יכולים להתמקד בדברים אחרים שהם יותר חשובים בחינוך של הילד.
ואולי גם סתם דברים חיצוניים גם, כאילו אולי זה יותר שקט פה ממה שיש מישהו בפני בבית.
נכון, אז כל הורה זה בגלל, יכול להיות שזה בגלל השפה. ההורה לא יכול לעזור בגלל שהוא דו-שפתי או חד-שפתי, הם עולים חדשים, או שההורים לא מכירים את סגנון הלמידה, הם לא יודעים איך לעזור, או שיש הרבה רעש בבית. או סתם, פשוט הילד לא אוהב לעשות שיעורי בית, הוא רוצה ללכת לשחק. אז ברגע שיש לו מקום מסודר, רגוע, שהוא מקבל גם הרבה תשומת לב כאן, מקבל עידודים ממורה, אז הוא מגיע למקום שקט שזה אינדיבידואלי וזה מותאם לו. אז יש הרבה יותר פתיחות ללמידה. הוא משנה כבר את הראייה שלו לגבי הלמידה.
מה הם הקשיים העיקריים במערכת החינוך שבהם מסתבכים הצעירים שאיתם את עובדת? מה קשה להם?
רוב הילדים שמגיעים לכאן הם ילדים בבית ספר יסודי, שפשוט או קשה להם לימודית, או שהם חושבים שקשה להם לימודית, הם לא אוהבים ללמוד או לא אוהבים לעשות שיעורי בית, אם זה בתחום של השיעורי בית. אם הם ילדים שצריכים הוראה מתקנת, באמת יש להם קשיים לימודיים משמעותיים, בקריאה, בהבנת הנקרא, בחשבון, בכתיבה.
מעניין שאת אומרת שהם חושבים, לפעמים יש כאילו ילד שתופס את עצמו,
כן,
שקשה לי הלימודים,
כן.
ובאמת זה לא שהוא קשה לו הלימודים בעצמם, קשה לו את היחס שלו ללימודים.
כן, הרבה פעמים הוא כבר, זה נראה לו הרבה יותר ממה שזה, זה נראה לו בבית, כשהוא עושה שיעורי בית זה יכול לקחת לו שעה, שעתיים לפעמים, בגלל שהוא סוחב את זה. ובאמת זה מטלה של אולי רבע שעה 20 דקות. אז כבר הוא התרגל ששיעורי בית זה דבר מעמיס. אבל ברגע שהוא יושב עם מורה שממקדת לו את זה, מארגנת, מסבירה לו את ההוראות, את המטלות, הוא גומר את זה מהר, היחס שלו לגבי שיעורי בית משתנה.
אז בטח את רואה לפעמים שהילד עצמו משתנה, אחרי קצת זמן שהוא רואה, הוא מתחיל להאמין בעצמו יותר.
בוודאי. ילדים מתחילים להרגיש, דבר ראשון, כל הגישה שלהם לשיעורי בית משתנה, כל הגישה ללימודים בכלל משתנה. לא בהכל, אבל בדברים הספציפיים, וזה דבר שקורה בהדרגה. הוא מתחיל לקבל איזשהו חוסן נפשי שאני יכול, אני מצליח, זה לא כל כך מפחיד. דברים שהפחידו אותי בעבר כבר לא מפחידים אותי. זה כמו דבר לעתיד, לא רק בתחום השיעורי בית. הוא מתחיל ללמוד שיש דברים שקשים לנו ואנחנו מצליחים.
אז בעצם, אם אני מבין נכון, ילד הרבה פעמים הוא מגיע בלי כלים. ופה הוא רוכש לא רק את הכלים של הלמידה עצמה, אבל את החוסן בעצם כדי להתמודד עם החיים.
נכון, לא רק בתחום הלמידה. הוא לומד שיש דברים שמפחידים אותנו, יש דברים שנראים לנו ממש ענקים וקשים, אבל באמת הם לא כל כך קשים כשמסתכלים עליהם נכון.
מי הכי מרוויח מהעבודה שלך בהקשיבה? והאם תוכלי לשתף סיפור אישי מיחיד או משפחה שהושפעו לטובה?
אוקיי, אז כמובן שאני מקווה שהמרוויח העיקרי זה התלמיד, כי זה המטרה של המרכז למידה. הייתה אימא שהתקשרה אליי בחשש גדול. היא רוצה את העזרה הלימודית, אבל היא יודעת שלבת שלה יש גישה מאוד מאוד שלילית לצוות החינוכי. היא מתחככת איתם, יש מריבות בבית ספר עם הצוות של הלמידה. ואמרתי לה שננסה ונתחיל, אני נתתי הדרכה למורה, אמרתי לה להיות מאוד אסרטיבית, מצד שני לתת לה הרבה ביטחון, הרבה חום והרבה גם מטרות מאוד מוגדרות של החומר. והם התחילו, ואחרי כמה שבועות האמא התקשרה ואמרה לי, הילדה הולכת בשמחה, והיא מרגישה שהיא לומדת, היא מרגישה, אפילו שעדיין הם לא הגיעו למטרה, היא מסכימה, היא רוצה, היא מבינה שהמטרות היא יכולה להשיג אותן, ופשוט זה נתן לה איזשהו ביטחון וכדי להמשיך, והם המשיכו גם אחרי שההקשיבה לא עובד בקיץ, היא עכשיו ממשיכה לעבוד.
זה יופי.
כן.
אז הזכרת עכשיו את המורות או המורים בבית ספר. אני כאילו, בפשטות, מה שאת עושה זה אמור ללכת יד ביד עם מה שהם עושים.
רציתי באמת להגיד שאנחנו באמת מקווים עכשיו שלאט לאט היא תעביר את הדברים לבית ספר. קודם היא צריכה לבנות אמון בעצמה. אחרי שהיא תבנה אמון בעצמה, היא גם תוכל להאמין במערכת החינוכית שמחוץ להקשיבה. וזו המטרה העיקרית.
ומניסיון שלך, את מרגישה שהמורים בבית ספר הם מקבלים בטוב מה שאתם עושים, ולפעמים הם מרגישים שזה מתחכך, כאילו למה אתם מפריעים לי בעבודה שלי, אני יודע ללמד, אני לא צריך שאתם...
מניסיון אני רואה שמורים מאוד אוהבים שיש עזרה לימודית לתלמיד. הם מרגישים, או יופי, הוא מטופל, או ההורים כן מודעים, הם מטפלים בו, יש עוד מישהו. זה לא שזה מוריד ממנו את העול, כי מורה במילא לא יכול להתמקד ממש ספציפית בכל דבר קטן, אבל זה כן מאוד עוזר להם. זה נותן להם דווקא הרגשה מאוד טובה למורים, שיש עוד מישהו שעוזר לילד.
אז אם מישהו מודאג, מישהו שומע עכשיו את מה שאנחנו מדברים, והוא מודאג קצת מהנושאים שאנחנו דנים בהם היום, ורוצים אולי לעשות משהו, אילו צעדים מיידיים עליהם לנקוט, ואיך הקשיבה יכולים לעזור?
הדבר הראשון שאני עושה זה אינטייק, אני מדברת עם ההורים, לשמוע בדיוק את הצורך של התלמיד. ברגע שאנחנו מכירים את הצורך, אז הרבה יותר קל להפנות את הילד לדבר הנכון, הממוקד. וברגע שהדבר הוא ממוקד ומאוד מאוד ברור, גם להורים וגם לנו, אז אנחנו מרגישים, גם ההורים מרגישים וגם אנחנו מרגישים בטוחים במה שאנחנו עושים.
אז לפעמים אני חושב שאנשים חושבים, יש הבעיה, מה הפתרון לבעיה הזאת? ולפעמים צריכים לפגוש אותם, כל אחד עם התפיסה שלו, הבעיה שלו, ואפשר לפתור את זה. הם צריכים להרים טלפון להקשיבה, ולבקש לקבוע תור לשבת איתך, כאילו
כן,
בעצם.
כן, הם מתקשרים, ואחר כך הם מתאמים איתי, אנחנו שומעים את הקושי, את הצורך, ואנחנו מנסים להתאים. לפעמים אני מפנה אותם למחלקה אחרת בהקשיבה, זה לא תמיד למחלקה שלי, ולפעמים אני אומרת להם, יש דברים מחוץ להקשיבה, אבל לפחות שיש להם איזשהו מענה, הרבה הורים לא יודעים לאן לפנות.
האם תוכלי לשתף סיפור הצלחה שמאפיין המשימה של הקשיבה, ושמוכיח את הכוח הטרנספורמטיבי של החוסן?
היה ילד שיש לו בעיית תקשורת, ילד חכם מאוד ומאוד מאוד עקשן, שלא הסכים בשום אופן לכתוב, לא היה לו שום בעיה מוטורית או פיזית, והוא לא הסכים לכתוב. היה הרבה מתח סביב הנושא בבית. ההורים ניסו בכל דרך אפשרית לחזק אותו, לעודד אותו, וזה לא עבד. האמא אפילו לא הייתה כל כך בטוחה שזה יעבוד כאן, אבל היא ניסתה. והקשר שנבנה בין התלמיד למורה היה קשר מאוד מאוד טוב. היא עבדה בצורה מאוד מדורגת, מאוד מובנית, שמאוד מתאים לילד כזה. עם המון עידוד, המון ביטחון. היא נתנה לו באמת הרבה כוחות. ולאט לאט הוא פשוט נפתח, הוא התחיל לכתוב ברמה של מילים, משפטים, התחיל לכתוב סיפורים קצרים, וכל הנושא שהיה מתוח בעניין הכתיבה בבית פשוט ירד, הילד פשוט התחיל לכתוב. ההורים שמחו שהם לא צריכים, כאילו את כל העול כאילו ירד מהם, ובאמת אני חושבת שזה היה ממש סיפור הצלחה.
ומה את מצביעה? איפה היה ההצלחה שם? כאילו, מה היה הבעיה ואיך זה נפתר?
אני חושבת שהיה הרבה לחץ סמוי אפילו סביב הכתיבה בבית, בגלל שההורים מאוד רצו שהוא יכתוב, הוא ילד חכם, נבון, עם יכולות. אז כל הלחץ הזה השפיע גם עליהם וגם על התלמיד. ברגע שהפרידו את זה, הוא מגיע באמת חדר מאוד נעים, עם מורה מאוד אוהבת ותומכת. אני תמיד אומרת להם, נכון שזה מרכז למידה, אבל אנחנו לא מפרידים את החלק הרגשי והתמיכה הרגשית. זה הולך בד בבד, ולפעמים אפילו צריך רק שנייה לשים את הלמידה בצד ולתת להם באמת את הכוח הנפשי כדי להתמודד, ואז לאט לאט אנחנו נראה שהלמידה כבר תזרום.
כן, איך שאת תיארת את זה, זה כאילו, קודם כל בונים את הקשר. ברגע שיש את הקשר, כאילו סומכים על אחד על השני, אז זה כאילו מרגיע ומשחרר, זה ככה זה נשמע.
נכון, כי היום יש כמו מרוץ החיים, הולכים ללימודים, חוזרים, עושים שיעורי בית, מתכוננים למבחנים. הילד כאילו באיזשהו מערבולת כזאת, ואין כאילו את העצירה, רק שנייה, מי אתה, מה היכולות שלך, מה חשוב בחיים. לפעמים אני אפילו אומרת לילדים, נכון שלימודים הם חשובים בשביל כך וכך וכך, אבל גם היכולות שלך הן הכי חשובות, להשתמש בהן, כל הפוטנציאל שלך. וילדים אוהבים את זה, ילדים מקשיבים ברמה שהם מבינים.
למה את מאמינה שחשוב שאנשים יתמכו ויתרמו להקשיבה, ואיזו השפעה יש לתמיכתם על הקהילה הרחבה?
אני חושבת שמאוד מאוד חשוב שיש מרכז למידה שיכול לתמוך בתלמידים. כי ילד שאין לו את הלמידה, הוא מתחיל להתרחק מהמסגרת החינוכית, מהחברה שלו, מהקהילה, והוא מחפש את ההצלחות ואת התשומת לב במקום אחר. מאוד חשוב לתת לילד את החוסן הנפשי, לתת לו הצלחות בלמידה, וברגע שהוא יצליח וירגיש טוב עם עצמו, והוא ירגיש שהוא יכול להתמודד עם כל מיני מכשולים בדרך, למרות שיש לו אולי קשיים לימודיים או קשיים חברתיים או משהו, אבל ברגע שיש לו את הכלים להתמודד, הוא יכול להצליח להיות חלק מהמערכת הלימודית, החברתית, וכך הוא יהיה יותר מקושר ויותר מצליח.
היה מאוד נחמד לשמוע על מה שאת עושה בהקשיבה, ומאחל לך הצלחה.
תודה רבה.
In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
and realizing that it's okay to admit that I am vulnerable.
And when should I involve a professional?
The dynamics of the family changes when every single child is succeeding.
We have a continually growing array of programs that are suited and tailored to the needs of the community.
At Hakshiva, we help families build their resilience to be able to then help their children to succeed.
Hakshiva's vision is to build resilience into each individual.
Our ADHD Center helps building resilience exactly for these kind of situations.
Hakshiva builds the resilience that is so needed in these hard and difficult times.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
One of the strongest elements of building resilience is stability and security. When someone makes aliyah, their stability goes through a change. And what's beautiful about Hakshiva is that there are so many different parts of Hakshiva that can help a family in different ways. There are just so many things that kids are flooded with when they enter the school system. His educational needs, his self-esteem, and overall being more confident he can actually succeed.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
If you feel or see that your child or yourself are struggling with what seems like ADHD, don't hesitate, we could help you. Our ADHD Center helps people to overcome their difficulties, their obstacles, and achieve their greatest potential that every person has.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
We're very important role models in developing our children's resilience. It's how we react to circumstances that aren't expected for us. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity and to adapt to challenging circumstances. We don't always have the solution for our children. It's an unknown. Being there for the children is something that allows our children to become stronger. Hakshiva is vital to our community.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
There's a lot of pressure that teens don't necessarily know how to express themselves. Parents are a significant role in the situation of where their children are. Supporting Hakshiva is supporting your own community.
A lot of what we do here is sitting with parents and with teens to find the right solution for that specific family, for that specific child.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
And realizing that it's okay to admit that I am vulnerable.
And when should I involve a professional?
The dynamics of the family changes when every single child is succeeding.
We have a continually growing array of programs that are suited and tailored to the needs of the community.
At Hakshiva, we help families build their resilience to be able to then help their children to succeed.
Hakshiva's vision is to build resilience into each individual.
Our ADHD Center helps building resilience exactly for these kind of situations.
Hakshiva builds the resilience that is so needed in these hard and difficult times.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
This campaign is about resilience. And Hakshiva is primary in building resilience, not only in kids, children, teenagers, but in entire families. Our mission at Hakshiva, after 20 years of being here for the community, is to continue to build resilience.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
All of us face challenges. I look at people who come in for help as heroes. All this has made Hakshiva realize how important it is, more than ever, for all of us to tap into our inner resilience. Resilience is the opposite of helpless. You're not helpless. Dig deeper, find your strength. You are bigger than life challenges.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
Coming to this program means that you want to help your kid succeed and get stronger. Which parent doesn't want that for their kid?
kids make Aliyah, and they want to see that not just their Aliyah is successful, they want to see their kids grow and become successful members of the community. So this really gives the kids the resilience to make it through.
The best thing you could do for your child is to build resilience so that as they go out to the world, they have what it takes to be successful. That's what we try to do here at Hakshiva.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
אין קפסולה לחוסן. הילד לא אכפת לו בדיוק כמה איומים קיומיים יש על ישראל וכמה איומים קיומיים יש על העם היהודי. הוא בסוף מסתכל על אמא ואבא. אם הוא רואה אמא ואבא, שלמרות כל הקושי, מצליחים לשמור על חיוך ועל אווירה נעימה, הוא יגדל בריא יותר בנפשו.
אז הצטרפו אלינו לשידור חי ביום ראשון, שני, 15 ו-16 לספטמבר, על נושא של החוסן.
Our nation is going through a major post-trauma. It's not even post, we're still in the middle of that trauma. This generation, when the temptations and the traumas are so there all the time, what the kids have is us, so we have to be there for them.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
הוא מתחיל לקבל איזשהו חוסן נפשי שאני יכול, אני מצליח. מאוד חשוב לתת לילד את החוסן הנפשי, לתת לו הצלחות בלמידה. ברגע שהוא ירגיש טוב עם עצמו, כך הוא יהיה יותר מקושר ויותר מצליח.
אז הצטרפו אלינו לשידור חי ביום ראשון, שני, 15 ו-16 לספטמבר, על נושא של החוסן.
One of the strongest elements of building resilience is stability and security. When someone makes Aliyah, their stability goes through a change. And what's beautiful about Hakshiva is that there are so many different parts of Hakshiva that can help a family in different ways. There are just so many things that kids are flooded with when they enter the school system. His educational needs, his self-esteem, and overall being more confident he can actually succeed.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience. Welcome back to the Hakshiva studio. We are here for part 2 of the proceedings this year in the annual campaign to help Hakshiva raise the money to continue the wonderful work they do. This year's campaign, the topic is resilience, bouncing back from adversity, how to deal with things that have gone on in life in general. This past year needs no explanation as to why that might be more pertinent and more relevant to people's lives than ever before. Last night we had a jam-packed program with interviews that came up on your screen, live people here in the studio. This is the Hakshiva studio. Behind me you will see the call center, people scurrying around making phone calls and possibly phoning you for the first or maybe even second time, who knows. We have this evening, and maybe if it's possible to say, an even more jam-packed program for you than we had last night. We have a chance to hear from experts in the field, both in Hakshiva and outside of Hakshiva, independent experts and internal experts, as well as people here in the studio. We'll have a chance to hear from the head of the board. We'll have a chance to hear from the CEO and the executive director of Hakshiva as we push towards our goal. This year, the goal that has been set on high is a high goal of $360,000. Sounds like a lot? It is a lot, but good news, every donation that you make is doubled. So far, I believe we're at 74% of our goal. The number is 266,000 something, 669. So that means that we're less than $100,000 from our goal. So if you happen to look around the room and say, I love this Hakshiva stuff. Oh look, what's $50,000 doing knocking around behind the bookshelf? I'll just quickly donate it to Hakshiva. It'll be doubled and we'll be there in no time. And then you won't have to hear from me ever again, or if the broadcast is annual, I guess, ever again for the best part of 300 and something days. Either way, please stay tuned to the wonderful program we have for you tonight. We have coming up, well, in the immediate future, we have coming up a very interesting interview with Shalom Iskowitz, who we caught up with, to tell you really about his insight. Here, there's a picture of him. I wonder if I'd have mentioned like pictures of all sorts of world personalities if they would appear on the screen. I don't know, but we won't test it now. But certainly Shalom Iskowitz does. We'll be hearing from him later on in the program. We'll have a chance to hear from Nesanel Good and Ari Deutscher, who are part of the B'nai Aliyah program. We'll have a chance to hear from Svi Brown, who is head of the ADHD Center. We'll have a chance to hear from Rav Dan Tiomkin, celebrated media personality, expert in the realm of education, ADHD, and in this year lending his expert voice to the concept and the dealing with of helping to build resilience in young people and their families. In the studio later on, we will have a chance to hear from Rav Yosef Jason, the head of the board of Hakshiva, as well as Rav Matzia Spigler and David Sipper, who is the executive director of Hakshiva, really as we run towards the finale and the finish line, please, God, of this campaign. The campaign goes on even longer than this broadcast. You'll be pleased to hear you'll be done with me even before the campaign is finished. But let's try to get to the end of our goal, even in advance of that. It'll be a great opportunity to celebrate it here, live, with you, on air. Without further ado, now, you can check out on our how to do things. You might think, well, he keeps saying donate, 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 but I don't know how. I'll tell you how exactly to donate. If you're listening to me, unlucky, but you're on the page of the fundraising campaign over here. So in addition to this small box that I seem to be in, oh, where am I in the box? Under here, somewhere, you will see for yourselves on the left-hand side, which for you, I guess, is there. Is that right? Have I instinctively intuited that correctly? My left. This side. On this side of your screen. On that side, down a bit. On that side, is that right? On this side of your screen, you will find the ability to donate. Go there, click the box, stick in a number, add a whole bunch of zeros on the end, and afterwards the number that you donate will be doubled by our generous matching donors that have stepped forward once again to help Hakshiva in their quest to continue the wonderful work that they do. Without further ado, I think it's, am I at the right time? Is this the time to hand over to, no, I have to prattle on for a bit more. Well, I'll talk to you about all sorts of things. I'm sure in your own lives you have had a chance to encounter the wonderful work that Hakshiva does. If you haven't, then ask a friend, ask other people. It's an unbelievable thing. This is Hakshiva in their 20th year of operation here in Ramat Bet Shemesh. They started off basically with an idea, moved into a small caravan as described to us yesterday, expanded their operations, eventually got into this very beautiful building. If you ever come in here during the week when it's not a broadcasting studio or a call center, if you ever come in during the week, you'll see the music corner and games rooms and different things, the after school clubs, the educational center, different rooms here, offices, therapy rooms, all sorts of things that make the Hakshiva program, the continually expanding Hakshiva programs, continue to run amazingly. In addition to here, Hakshiva now have buildings in other parts of Bet Shemesh. Really an unbelievable operation that is expanding, obviously because there is need and demand for it, but also the whole focus of Hakshiva has changed over the years, whereas originally it was very, very front line. Nowadays, very much involved in the world of prevention and the world of just building solid educational models for young people and their families to continue to help build good lives here in Israel. Or some people jokingly say Ramat Bet Shemesh is very near to Israel. Either way, here we are in the studio tonight, helping Hakshiva continue their journey, please God, for the next year. So please, please, please help Hakshiva continue to do their wonderful work. $360,000 is the target. We're over $260-something thousand already. 74% of the way. That's pretty good. My calculations, that's just over 25% away from our goal. So if you're sitting there thinking, how can I help? Well, it's simple. Donate. It's here, I've been told. Here, on the left, underneath over there, somewhere there is the place to donate. You can do that. If you look very carefully over here, you'll see that there's kind of names scrolling across your screen over here. Those are the names of people who have donated. And I'm sorry? Right. When it says over there, over here, when it says how to do this, enter the amount, and then press donate. And if you do that, then your name will potentially scroll. All the way along here on this ticker thing that's going underneath me. I can't feel it. It doesn't cause me any pain. It's just it's actually imposed on the screen, believe it or not. There's a reminder of who I am in case I forget. There's a yellow donate button. That's the way to look for it. It's a bit like this is written donate now in a kind of a different color. Also, you'll see over here somewhere a yellow donate. Oh, I'm pointing right at it. Amazingly. There it is. I can see it well. Oh yes, there it is. The yellow donate now button. Fantastic. The donate button. So donate, click on what's going on. We're going to go for a short break now to a little bit of PR, which is completely unnecessary because you're already here. But we'll do it anyway. And then we'll be back for a little bit more rambling, and then you'll be able to have a chance actually to hear from somebody sensible in the form of Shalom Yitzchak. In the meantime, we'll take a short break. We'll be back after this.
In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
And realizing that it's okay to admit that I am vulnerable.
When should I involve a professional?
The dynamics of the family changes when every single child is succeeding.
We have a continually growing array of programs that are suited and tailored to the needs of the community.
At Hakshiva, we help families build their resilience to be able to then help their children to succeed.
Hakshiva's vision is to build resilience into each individual.
Our ADHD Center helps building resilience exactly for these kind of situations.
Hakshiva builds the resilience that is so needed in these hard and difficult times.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience. Okay, well, we're back in the studio. Without further ado, it is time to move along and hear from Rav Shalom Iskowitz, a very interesting interview, hear about his expertise and how he got involved in Hakshiva, how things have developed over the years. Enjoy this, and we'll be back afterwards for more of our live program to help Hakshiva. In the meantime, while you're doing it, look over there at the yellow donate button and make sure that you're donating while listening to Shalom Iskowitz. Enjoy. I'm here with Shalom Iskowitz, who is the Director of Educational and Mentoring Services in Hakshiva. We're talking today about resilience. Let's dive right in. Shalom, shalom.
Hi, Mark.
Okay, so first of all, a little bit of history. What inspired you to join Hakshiva?
Okay, I made Aliyah when I was 12, and at that time there was no Hakshiva. There were very little in terms of organizations and help and assistance in general for Olim that come to Israel. And when I first met Hakshiva's founder, Yonasan Martin, so I immediately the shared vision of creating something for primarily at that time for Olim, to help them integrate, to help them gain a confidence that they can make it, like in a foreign country, was something which touched a very personal place for me. And I felt like this was a real opportunity to get involved in an organization in its infancy at the time, to really create programming to assist kids, to assist families. And since then, we've developed a lot of program really to help parents who come to Israel for their move to be less overwhelming, to help their children become more resilient in their transition to Israel. Every transition that we go through in life is a blow and lowers our resilience. And here we created programming to be able to help children with this transition in many different areas.
So you said Hakshiva definitely has grown and has many different areas. You are now the Director of Educational Mentoring Services. So what are some of the main goals of your department, and how do you see them making a difference in the lives of the families that you work with?
Right, so if you take a look at a kid who's sitting in a classroom, I take a kid who's in first grade, third grade, fifth grade, seventh grade, 10th grade, what are the kind of things that this kid has to deal with? Because you think of school, school is education, school is academics, school is learning, but there's so many other things that a kid has to really deal with in the school environment. And this is the first time that this kid is coming into contact with many different challenges that will present over the course of his life. So here's like a real opportunity to focus in on a child at this stage in their development, and to help them with many different areas. So you have a kid who comes into a classroom, he has to deal with a social environment, how he interacts with other people, how he views himself. There's comparison. He's looking at his friends right and left, who's doing better, who's doing worse. Academically, is he able to focus in the classroom? Can he read what's on the board? Can he copy? There's fine motor, gross motor. There's so many things that this kid has to deal with. In addition, also, this is the first time that he's really coming in contact with authority outside of his home. There's a relationship between him and the mechanech, the school staff, the teachers he has in different subjects, plus working in a system outside of his home, abiding by school rules, understanding the rules, organizational skills. There are just so many things that kids are flooded with when they enter the school system. So the programming that we've developed helps address those needs. A kid's social understanding, his educational needs, his self-esteem, and overall being more confident in the school setting that he's in, that he can actually succeed. And then after that, that really opens doors and opportunities for him to feel more confident in many other settings throughout his life.
So I guess Director of Educational and Mentoring Services, because there's the educational piece, and then there's all the other pieces that are much more holistic, that go into somebody's well-being within the context of school, even though it's not necessarily...
Right, you really can't separate education, academics from the many other parts of who we are. I mean, the social part of who we are, the emotional well-being, and where we stand in society. Right, you really can't separate those two things.
And I guess you mentioned transitioning, but for Olim, there's that extra piece that I'm not familiar linguistically, I'm not familiar culturally. So there's another, I guess, for Olim, just it compounds everything you said, which would be true of everyone in school, wherever they are potentially. And here's another level. Are you able to speak a little bit about what some of the unique things are that Olim themselves go through?
Right. One of the strongest elements of building resilience is stability and security. When someone makes aliyah, their stability is it goes through a change in many ways. One is, I mean, they don't know what to expect from their teacher. They don't know what to expect from their friends. They don't know what to expect from their community. A lot of things that have been taken for granted before aliyah, coming in aliyah with everything that's involved, really shakes their world in terms of what they expected to be. So when you have a child going through that, and the parents going through that together with the child, each one experiencing their instability in different ways, that really amplifies their struggle in all the areas that we spoke about until now. I mean, if a kid is struggling before aliyah with his academics, he has some kind of learning disability, or attention, or instability within the family. You can have a sickness or something else, lo aleinu, that goes on in homes, unfortunately. And then you make aliyah, and all the things that you were able to count on back from the country that you came from, once you get here, all those things are in question, and that definitely is makes the need for outside help and connectivity with someone or something to be able to provide that comfort and stability even more.
So, in what areas do you think some of the young people that you work with often run into difficulty, particularly in the educational system? What are some things that you notice are most challenging for them?
Right, so I'd say that we're human beings, and human beings need connection. And for a child to find connection with someone on his own is a big challenge, especially if we spoke about aliyah, someone coming in is not really familiar with who's in charge of what, who does what within the school system. So I'd say for a kid who comes into a new system and comes into school and needs, like we all do, but especially these kids need someone to connect to within their schools, I think that could be a very big challenge. Not every kid is going to, on his own, approach somebody. So you can have kids who are somewhat quiet. I think those are the ones who get overlooked the most. And they're really waiting for someone to approach them and say, here, I'm here for you. What kind of things are challenging for you? Let's try to work these things out together. Without that kind of connection with someone in the school, or someone that they know that they can count on and turn to and provide that support for them, that could lead to a lot of challenges.
So the connection with someone being someone who actually is from the school, like a teacher or somebody who's in a position of authority, as opposed to the social component we were talking about before. Very often people just need that connection within the system.
Right, within the system to have, I mean, this is something that I tell a lot of parents when they make aliyah. You can have another child in the classroom, to have like a buddy type of system. A kid who's already been there for a couple of years, someone that if the kid doesn't understand something in class, he knows this kid is assigned, he knows he's waiting for him, he can ask him any question that he wants to. He doesn't have to be embarrassed to make that first step. It takes a lot of courage, for a kid to take that step and to approach somebody. And then additionally, in the staff, someone for the parents to be able to have it as an address, someone who ideally speaks their language or at least understands their language, and someone that the kid also knows. And it may not be the kid's direct teacher. Sometimes you can have a kid who might connect to someone else on staff, but someone on staff that the kid knows that if I have any trouble, any difficulty, any challenge, questions that I have in school, you'd be surprised that there are some kids who can go through the entire day without going to the bathroom in school, just to give an example. And then you think, maybe they're constipated, there's some kind of, they go to the doctor and try to see what's going on, but sometimes they're embarrassed because they don't know where the bathroom is, or they don't know that the bathroom lock on this stall is broken, and they don't know who to speak to. I mean, if they have someone in school that they can approach and feel comfortable talking to them about whatever it is, that understanding, that just knowing that decreases the level of stress that a kid can have during a school day.
Who benefits the most from the work you do at Hakshiva? And can you share an example of a family or individual who has been positively impacted by the work that you do?
So we have many different types of families that come to Hakshiva. Families across the spectrum of different types of needs. Families who come in really just made aliyah and just need some kind of extra support. Families are really going through a major difficult challenges within the family unit. So I'd say the more stress that a family is going through, the more help they would need and really benefit from. So if you have a family who's just made aliyah, plus there was tragedy in the family, plus their socioeconomic level is on the lower side, plus their kid has a learning challenge. I mean, there's so many things that can be added to add stress and make it more challenging for this kid to really be successful in school. So I'd say those kids can benefit the most. And what's beautiful about Hakshiva is that there are so many different parts of Hakshiva that can help a family in different ways. So you can have a family who comes, let's say, to our department to get help academically or help socially, either with a mentor in the learning center, or with a social skills coach. And at the same time, the parents need a lot of guidance. And they can also go to get guidance, from parenting at Hakshiva. And so I'd say the more checks or X's on the boxes of things that are causing this family stress, we're able to really come in and help them prioritize, where to focus on and where to really get the most help.
Someone who's listening to this might say, oh yes, I'm actually quite interested in that. I'm quite worried about some of the issues that have been raised. What immediate steps should they take, and how can Hakshiva help?
Well, I'd say first, you don't have to know why you're calling Hakshiva. If you're confused about something, you can call Hakshiva, come in for an intake, and the professional that you'll be sitting with will help you figure things out. And so sometimes people feel like, I'm not going to call because I don't know exactly what I'm asking for. Let's say that's okay. You don't have to know exactly what you're asking for. You can know that you're having some kind of challenge with your child, related to school, related at home. It's something that you feel like you currently don't have the resources or know how to access resources to help your child. So I'd say the first thing to do is really just to contact Hakshiva, come in for an intake, and before that, take a deep breath. Breathing is important, especially when you're going through stress. Take a deep breath, sit down, and then pick up the phone, make a phone call, come in for an intake, and you don't have to have the answers. Things will be thought through together with you.
I guess that leads to another question, which is, do you ever feel that some of your work is made more difficult because some schools are less equipped than others to help implement some of the things that are going on? Meaning, you sound like you've got a very good handle on maybe helping someone get to the core of what's maybe the issue, but maybe the school's not receptive to that. Do you ever encounter that, or not so much?
Every school is different, just as we are all different from each other. So every school has a different approach. And I think because Hakshiva has been around for a number of years, so Baruch Hashem, we have a good relationship with all the schools in town. And we also understand the nuances of the schools and how they approach things. And many times the program that we have is something that we run in the school. So like when I said before about having somebody who the child can connect to. Sometimes the child does not connect to the school staff in that current school. But if you have a mentor in the school, someone who's working together with the staff and is really on the child's side, so that's something where the child knows that this guy is really there for me. I think like you say, there's like kol mikre legufo. Every case really is independent, and its needs are independent and could be different than another case that comes in. And each case that comes in, we really do our best to work with that child, that type of family, their needs, and also with the connection with school or any part of the community that they're having a challenge with. Turning to Hakshiva, being that we're a chesed organization, but at the same time, we're not a tzedakah organization. So our services are subsidized. I'd say even though, this may lead into your next question, but even though we are subsidized, it's still very difficult for certain families to afford services. So in terms of turning to Hakshiva, not turning to Hakshiva, I think I would want to see every family be able to turn to Hakshiva and not ask themselves, how much does a service cost, even though the services are all subsidized. But I would want Hakshiva to be able to open its doors and to provide the top-notch professional service that we have, and with the sensitive staff that we have, to really any person who has a need that can benefit from a program.
Can you share a success story that embodies the mission of Hakshiva and demonstrates the transformative power of resilience?
So there's a family who turned to us earlier this year. This year is unfortunately a very difficult year that Am Yisrael is going through, that we all feel on different levels in terms of the war. And there was a family that turned to us they were not officially mifunim, meaning they didn't have to leave the city that they were in, but they on their own decided to leave. That being because the father was in Miluim, he was called up to the reserves. The mother was alone with the children, and she didn't have any family there that was able to support them. And she does have family in Beit Shemesh. So they came to Beit Shemesh. She needed on her own to get her kids into schools. The kids were all little, Kita, Gimel, and down. And it's very challenging. And these kids were not simple children in the sense of what their needs were. And the schools were all having great difficulty. The one school didn't work out, she had to switch to another school, and she came to us to see what we can help with. So here, the community, knowing that Hakshiva exists and Hakshiva is here to support, referred her to Hakshiva. And I'd say, even though, like I said before, that change and instability is one of the key factors that hurt someone's resilience. So here, even though there is so much uncertainty in this woman's life, this family's life, when is the father going to be coming back? When's the next time the kids are going to see their father? When are they going to be able to move back to their community? The schools the kids were going and not going because there was such a challenge, for the kids to really be able to be in school. The one stable, consistent thing that they had was coming to Hakshiva twice a week. And even though the kid did not want to go to school, the kid wanted to come to Hakshiva, and they came to Hakshiva not to have fun. Came to Hakshiva to be supported, but to learn. And learning that they did in Hakshiva, if you imagine for a kid to be out of school for an entire year, and there are some kids in the country who, because of the war, were not really in a school framework the entire year, but the fact that we were able to give this family that kind of support and consistency and stability, I think really attests to the type of staff that we have at Hakshiva, and also that we're really filling a niche and a need.
Amazing. Why do you believe it's important to support Hakshiva, and what impact does their work have on the community as a whole?
Right. I know that I'm biased, but I think that Ramat Beit Shemesh is blessed to have an organization like Hakshiva, who is really, the organization grew together with Ramat Beit Shemesh. Many community organizations grow together with the community. And Hakshiva definitely has done that. And what I mean by that is that Hakshiva, like our name, is to listen. We listen to the needs of the community, we listen to the needs of the schools, we listen to the needs of a growing community. And as you listen, you also understand how to approach things in the best way. And like I said earlier, I feel that Hakshiva has what to offer to almost any family who has children going through any kind of school system. My dream is to be able to have Hakshiva be accessible to every family in Beit Shemesh, that they can turn to Hakshiva for any need and not think about any kind of cost. And for Hakshiva to be able to continue expanding its programming and developing its programming to fit all the additional needs that arise in the community.
Shalom, Director of Educational and Mentoring Services in Hakshiva. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Shalom Iskowitz. Hope that was informative from a personal perspective, how he got involved in Hakshiva, a professional perspective about what work he has done and continues to do in Hakshiva and in terms of the entire Hakshiva operation. We're back here in the studio as part of the Hakshiva annual broadcast, which is a part of the bigger event of the Hakshiva annual fundraiser to help them continue the work they do. The goal this year, $360,000, a big goal, but we are actually, happy to tell you, 75% of the way there on $270,000. So we're doing very, very well on the one hand, but we're not there on the other. And this is already the second night of the program. It's a night of two halves, or an event of two nights, whatever. So we're doing well, but we need that last push. So for the final 25%, which is the best part of $90,000, so we're not there yet, please make sure that you donate. Every donation that you make, somewhere over here on a yellow button, is doubled. So, make a donation now. If you think, I probably could tell my friends about this, yeah, do. If you even have time now to probably make some friends, and then tell them about it. You've probably got even time to do that. So that's probably worth contemplating. Still to come in tonight's program, we have a chance to catch up with Tzvi Brown. You'll hear about that. We also have Nathaniel Good and did I just say that right? Yeah. Okay. And Ari Deutscher, who we caught up with as part of the B'nai Aliyah program. We'll hear from them a little bit later, please God. Dan Tiomkin, celebrated media personality and expert in children's education, ADHD, has been speaking to us about resilience and building that up in young people and their families. Also here live in the studio we have with Yosef Jason, the head of the board of Hakshiva, and later on we'll be able to hear in person from the CEO of Hakshiva, Matzah Spiegler, as well as the executive director of David Zipper of Hakshiva, here in the studio as we push towards our final part of the campaign. So please make sure you keep the donations coming in. If you are listening to this, you must be on the right page, because somewhere over there, as I just told you, is the donate area, so you can definitely check that out. Yeah. Make sure that you keep with us. Make sure that you tell people what's going on. If you're not sure where we are right now, we're in the Hakshiva main building here in Beit Shemesh Aleph. I'm sitting here, as you can probably see on your screens. This is our live studio for the broadcast. But actually, if I wasn't here and this was a normal day, you would see table tennis tables and pool table over there and a piano in the corner and all sorts of things, the after school clubs and the social activities that go on at Hakshiva. Further behind me over there is an office, and upstairs you go to see different offices and different rooms for the therapy programs that Hakshiva run. Really, really a very special operation over here. Probably worth mentioning that none of this would be possible, obviously, without Hakshiva, but also without our friends and partners that we work with. So a massive thank you to Live for You, who are here. The only reason, this is a double-edged sword. The only reason why you're seeing and hearing from me right now is because of them, so you can blame them for that. But in terms of the production, a very professional operation. All the things you see around you, including things going across the screen, and this thing behind me over here, and all sorts of things you can't see over there, machines that go ping. We've got Nissan and Denise over here, who you can't see. You just have to trust me that they're there. We have Alex over there, manning the camera. We have Eitan, how could this be possible without Eitan? This wouldn't be possible without him. Yes, you don't know who I'm talking about, but you have to trust me that they're here. Things are being checked the whole time, sound checks and everything. So really a big thank you to Live for You. A big thank you to Sharon Rotman behind the scenes, who's been scurrying away things to do with computers and things that go ping. I'm not sure what she's been doing because I don't understand any of the words that get sent out, but it's been technical stuff. So that definitely this wouldn't have been possible to bring together without her involvement as well. So thank you very much, Sharon. And obviously the biggest shout out goes to Hakshiva, all the helpers behind me. Some of them here were last night. Some of them might be the same as tonight. I don't know which one's which. But there's a wide range. Some people you can't see here, but that's because they're outside on phones and contacting people. So it really is a non-stop operation here to help the non-stop operations of Hakshiva. We're going to go for a short break. We're back in the studio, and then we are to check out a little bit more as we go towards the interview with Tzvi Brown. But we will take a short break, and we'll be back after this. Enjoy.
You feel or see that your child or yourself are struggling with what seems like ADHD. Don't hesitate, we could help you. Our ADHD center helps people to overcome their difficulties, their obstacles, and achieve their greatest potential that every person has.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024, the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience. All right, welcome back. You had a little chance to hear very briefly from Tzvi Brown, and we'll hear from him a little bit in a very short amount of time. I was just thanking people before we went for that short break. Of course, we couldn't fail to thank Ephraim and Ricky Dinner for Dinner Video Productions. All the things that you're seeing tonight that have been recorded on the very high quality video recordings were recorded by Dinner Video Productions. You can check them out. They also do weddings and bar mitzvahs and all the other stuff. Very professional team and great to work with, so a big thank you to them as well. Make sure that you keep your donations coming in. Down here is the donate button, as you can see. And we're going to now have a chance to hear from Tzvi Brown in the next part of tonight's jam-packed lineup. We hope you enjoy that, and then we'll come back here so I can annoy you some more. And while you're doing that, even when I'm not annoying you, even when I'm not there, I will haunt you in your worst nightmares. So even when I'm not there, you can still click on this button here. It still works even when you're listening to Tzvi Brown. So do that, enjoy, and we'll see you a little bit later. Be back. I'm here with Tzvi Brown, who is the head of the Boys Mentoring and ADHD Intake Coordinator. What does that all mean? Let's ask him. Hi Tzvi, how are you doing?
Good afternoon, how are you?
All good, thank God. So first of all, before we start, what inspired you to join Hakshiva?
So for many years, I heard about Hakshiva, and here and there I also had some kind of situations that I was helped by Hakshiva with students that I taught. A few years ago, there was a job opportunity, and they were looking for a director for the mentoring program. And since then, I'm a part of Hakshiva. I'm really happy to be part of Hakshiva. We do great things. And in the last year and a half, we started working on the ADHD center.
So last year's campaign, I remember we were raising money for building the center. So maybe just if you can tell me, what are the main goals of your department in Hakshiva?
So I think we're going to put the focus on the ADHD right now. The focus on the ADHD, we want to create a situation that the parents and the kids, and hopefully also the community and the schools, all work together and all have the same, we call it safachat, the same language. And that's the best way to help these kids and also adults or grown-ups to deal with their difficulty and get the tools, and not only the tools, also the emotional, social life around them and the backbone, whatever they need to be able to succeed in their life. Because as we know, ADHD is not some kind of emotional issue. It's something in the brain that it just works differently. And we need to just give these people the right tools, and that's the best way that they could help themselves and have resilience and be able to be strong, especially in the times of, in the war right now, that some kids, their fathers are away, or other, brothers, very close family members, or just what they hear. And as we know, ADHD, many times they don't really know how to, they have difficulty reading the map, reading reality the right, in the right way, if we call it like that. And things could go blown out of proportion. They could get into some kind of emotional stress. And if we give them the tools ahead of time or during the crisis, then they could, on their own, be able to help themselves. And that's really what we want them to do, to be able to work through their own life with having a set of tools that they know that this is what I use for this situation, this is what I use for that situation. That's pretty much the goal of the ADHD Center.
So those are the goals. What do you find to be some of the main ADHD-related issues that some of the people that you work with tend to face?
So as a teacher for 15 years, I think the first thing is school. The way our schools are built today is that you have to be in some kind of a box, and we try to think out of the box, but we're still in a box. And many times ADHD, if it's ADD or ADHD, they have a very hard time, with this type of environment. So it affects their studies, the academic, ability, and then everything, from there becomes like a kadur sheleg, a snowball that it turns into issues of behavior and then emotional, and the family, gets all into the stress. So that's really the first thing that we face, and the main thing, and that's what we want to help them with.
So who would you say benefits most from the work that you do at Hakshiva? You do this work in the ADHD kids. Is it the kids that benefit the most? Is it the wider family that benefits the most? Who really benefits the most, and what type of person is best suited to this program?
So who benefits the most is the person that is dealing with whatever issue he has, whatever difficulty, because people don't come to Hakshiva and say, oh, everything's great, we just want to be part of Hakshiva. That's the donors. Whoever needs the help is something, they're lacking something. So first of all, it's the child, the adult, the grown-up, whoever it is. Of course, afterwards it's the parents, because we work with the parents, and the parents are getting tools, and the second they have the tools, so they feel the strength, and they feel that they're able to deal with the situation, and the schools, and then the whole community. If you have, kids that are being dealt with the right way, so everybody benefits from it at the end, yeah.
So someone is listening to this and they say, I really feel that what this person's doing here, I see that Tzvi is working with these young people, that could maybe be relevant to my child. What's the process? What's the first step someone should take when they think, oh, maybe my child needs some support in this area?
So if we're talking about Hakshiva, so we call Hakshiva, the secretary, and she's going to have very specific questions. The first question is your son evaluated with ADHD? Because if not, so he's not, we could help him in different areas, not in the ADHD center. If not, so you have to go to the family doctor, and he walks you through the first, process. But after he is evaluated, or if he is evaluated, they send in the evaluation, I go through it, we call in the parents for intake, and then we see what is best for the child. We have here COG fund, we're working on having coaching here. We have family group therapy, not really therapy, it's just group, whatever you say, like psychochinuchi, educating the parents, what is ADHD and how to deal with it, and that gives a lot of strength to the parents.
And if they're evaluation, or maybe pre-Hakshiva, like I'm watching this, I'm thinking, maybe that's relevant to my child. What would the first thing I would do what would I do first? Who would I speak to first? What would I do? I just phone my family doctor up? I go to the school? What?
As a parent and as a teacher, I think the best thing is to first speak to the teacher. Now, obviously, when you see me speaking about ADHD, like, oh, maybe this is my son, so what comes up to you? Is it because he's failing tests? Is it because you're getting phone calls from every other day that your son is, acting up in school? Is it because he's driving you crazy at home? Is it because million and one different things, all different types of ways that ADHD comes out? So yeah, don't keep it, don't throw it into the closet and say it's okay. As early as possible is to, first of all, face it, that this is what we're dealing with, and there's a lot of help out there, and a lot of ways to help these kids, and they don't have to struggle as much as they do if they don't get help.
So you said people should come and get help straight away and they shouldn't just push it off. How much do you think people know about the work that Hakshiva does, and how much do some people think maybe, I don't know what Hakshiva is, it's not relevant to what I need?
I think Hakshiva has a lot more to do regarding their PR and letting people know. I think there's a lot in Hakshiva, but I don't think people know enough of what Hakshiva has to offer. I think what we're doing right now is amazing, and I think we have to do this, a lot, and let these, let the crowd know what we're doing, and just spread the word. Spread the word.
So you're speaking to the planet. So if you could say one thing, like what would you say to them in terms of, take your head out of the box it might be in and think more broadly about how some of the programming Hakshiva does, specifically in ADHD, what would you say to people?
So, hello parents, and hello if it's an adult or a grown up, and if you feel or see that your child or yourself are struggling with what seems like ADHD, don't hesitate. Just pick up the phone to Hakshiva, and we could help you. We could help you. We could walk you through this, and hopefully you will be able to succeed and feel much better with yourself.
When we did the campaign for ADHD, I remember people complained and said it just takes a long time till you get to see the people and get evaluated. Like, are there any shortcuts, or is it just a long process?
There is a shortcut, but I don't believe in it. I think the best process is to go and do it with the really high quality, qualified people. Whoever wants to know could call me up and speak to me. Right now in Hakshiva, we don't have, in the ADHD center, we don't have someone that does evaluations. It's really for psychiatrists, for doctors. We could help you find the right people and walk you through it. That's what we're here for. Part of the ADHD center, yeah.
Amazing. Can you share maybe one success story that maybe embodies the work that you do here and that Hakshiva does at large, and how that's maybe enabled some of the young people to get resilience to deal with their life?
So I'll use my other hat, that is I'm the director of the mentoring program here, is that a lot of the whole idea of the ADHD center started because of that. Because a lot of times I met parents, and it just turns out to be that many times these kids are dealing with ADHD, and I'm like, okay, so how can we help that? And I don't have one successful story, because I have many of them, that by speaking to the parents and having a meeting with them, and speaking to the mentor, and speaking to the teacher, and speaking to the school, that we put everything together, and we try to work very broadly, like with everybody together in the community regarding the kid. Many situations that is like, oh, thank you so much for opening up my eyes. My son needs an evaluation. He got an evaluation. He got whatever he needed, and he's getting, his help, and he's doing much better. Now, it doesn't end over there. We always advise to get also some kind of emotional support, which we are offering here. If it's CogFund, which is not really emotional, but gives you all the executive functioning things you need. And we're working also on more on the emotional, like if it's coaching and all that. Like, it's not, like I said, it's not emotional, but there is emotional, attached to it. So there's many stories. It's not a story. It's not like, oh, 10 years down the line, she's like, oh, thank you so much, you saved my life because we evaluated my son, or you helped me being evaluated, and we're not there. We're not 10 years down the line, but just for the few years that I'm here and the year that we're working on the ADHD Center, and we're focusing in Hakshiva on ADHD and all the programs, we're working all together, all the programs we have, we're focusing on the ADHD. I could say that I see a big difference. Yeah.
Based on what you said before and based on what you said just now about the other programs, it sounds like very often ADHD will be one piece of a picture, and then it will help feed into the other programming that Hakshiva does. So very often it will be life-changing for people, right, in multiple ways.
So that's what's nice about Hakshiva. Hakshiva offers many, many things, many different departments over here. And because we're all working together, you know, so if something comes up in one department, so they could get benefit from the other department, and many times that's how we could put this, like you said, the whole picture, this whole puzzle all together in the best way you can. It's not like you go to one doctor and then you go to another therapist and then to another, I don't know, coach. Everything is pretty much under the same umbrella.
Amazing. So finally, why do you believe it's important for people to support Hakshiva, and what impact does that have on the wider community?
Okay, so we know that Hakshiva is a voluntary organization, and we need your support. We need your support. We need the community support to continue helping the community. And each person that helps from the community is, like I said before, we're helping ourselves, because if our teenagers, our children are getting what they're supposed to be getting, so then the whole community is in a much better place, and everyone wants to live, you know, in a comfortable and fun environment. So please help us to help you.
Sue Brown, Head of the Boys Mentoring and ADHD Intake Coordinator, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Well, there you have a case in point about the Hakshiva development. Last year we were here in part of the annual Hakshiva broadcast raising money for our new ADHD Centre. This year you have a chance to hear from Sue Brown, who's running programming and changing the lives of young people with ADHD and their families, helping them build plans, strategizing, and really get exactly the kind of frontline work that needs to be done to help them achieve well in their school programming and beyond. So there's last year's successes. From last year to this year, here we are in our campaign. See behind me over here, Resilience. That's the name of the game this year, to try to help raise money to help Hakshiva continue the work they do. This year the focus on resilience, bouncing back from adversity. We've already heard from experts in the field just now, as recently as Sue Brown, about the significance of helping people build their abilities to have resilience to adversity they may face in their life. Of course, in the last year, unfortunately, having come from last year's campaign to this campaign, in the interim, we've had to endure a very large amount of adversity here in Israel, and this campaign being very, very timely in trying to help make sure that people's lives are able to continue with the armed with the resources that they need, and helping them to build resilience, whether that's in the realm of younger children, teenage children, or in fact their parents, their families, and the wider community at large. Hakshiva's there in their frontline work, helping people to continue. In our campaign this year, as you may have heard from me maybe 1 billion times, the goal is $360,000. We are over 75% of the way there. What's the current figure that we're up to? So I said that, 75%, okay, that's about $270,000. So we need to get that last bit completed, that 25%, which we need to get to $360,000, about $9,000 away. Every donation that you make will be doubled by our generous matching donors that have stepped forward again to help Hakshiva to continue the work they do. Over here somewhere is a yellow Donate Now button. Click on it, go on it, and donate. Oh, but I've already donated, you may think to yourself. Well, no rules about this game. You're allowed to donate twice. You can even donate 3 times or 4 times. You can also get other people to donate, not by force, but voluntarily. If they so choose, they should be encouraged to help Hakshiva continue what they do. We heard from several people last night that described the fact that people want to be helping as much as they can, particularly this year, and to be investing in the world of young people, which is really going to be directly connected to a solid Jewish future here, is really a tremendous thing to do. So if you are aware of people that haven't donated that might want to know, and they've been missing out if they didn't have a chance to chaperon, as they say in Yiddish, to grab hold of a chance to be part of this opportunity, then please tell people about it. You can put mute, tell them they can mute it, they don't have to hear me speaking, but they should take that moment just to donate. It is a very important cause and one very much worthy of your support. We're here in the Hakshiva main building. This is the studio. This is from a different angle. I don't know how we did. There's lots of different camera work going on our fantastic Live for You team. Behind me is the call center, where you may see people walking around, calling people, or in fact, often you won't see them at all because they've stepped out to another part of the building and they're making calls over there. It's a really very impressive operation, seeing how many people are here, trying to help make sure that this works. There's people over there behind me, over there behind me, on computers, tapping in, registering donations and whatever it might be. It's a big operation to help the big operation of Hakshiva to continue what they do. This is Hakshiva's 20th year. They've been doing this for, I guess their 21st year. They've been doing it for 20 years. An amazing thing, from small beginnings to really a jam-packed range of weekly, monthly and annual activities that they have going on over here at Hakshiva. It's a really special thing to do. If you watch some of the promotional material that flashes on your screen occasionally, you see how many hundreds of people here and thousands of people there. They've really helped. These are not made up statistics, these are real numbers. Really an irreplaceable organization in Ramat Bet Shemesh. If you've never come across Hakshiva before, I don't know where you have been. We're going to take a short break, and then when we... Okay, sorry. Well, we are going to take a short break, but coming up, I have voices in my head and a voice in my ear, and they all start arguing with each other, and I'm just sitting here. You can't hear any of them, but I'm going, which one's real? We will having a chance to hear from Nathaniel Good and Ari Deutsche in their B'nai Aliyah program. That is, we'll have a chance to hear from the double act, the duo. The only people that we interviewed together, actually, and a really interesting perspective on some of the work that Hakshiva does primarily, not exclusively, but primarily with people who've made Aliyah. If you're watching this living in Israel, great. Alternatively, if you live in Ramat Bet Shemesh, also great. And if you live in actual Chutz La'aretz, America, England, Zimbabwe, wherever you might be tuning in from, definitely take note of this, because everyone knows that moving home can be challenging, moving country can be challenging, and Hakshiva really has very much been at the forefront of helping cushion the effects that people might experience when they move a country, really helping people transition in a very smooth and very, very powerful way. It's very interesting to listen to them. Later on in the program tonight, we'll have Yosef Jason here live in the studio. He's the head of the board. You'll have a chance to hear from, he's disappeared. Blink and you miss it. There he is, he's back again quickly. Well, you can see him with Dan Tiomkin, a very celebrated educational expert, media personality in Israel, also expert in the world of ADHD, and he spoke to us this year about the importance and the strategies of how to build resilience in young people. Really very interesting things to come from him. And later on, live in the studio, we'll have a chance to hear from the CEO of Hakshiva, Rav Matzah Shpigler, and the executive director of Hakshiva, Rav David Sipper, about how they understand things to be moving, progressing, and hopefully at the time they're here, we'll be right at the threshold, or hopefully long past the threshold of achieving our goal of $365,000 to help Hakshiva continue what they do. So we'll take a short break. How are we doing for break? We're just going to go, should I talk for another 60 seconds? I'm going to talk for another 60 seconds. What should I talk about? Well, I don't actually need anything to talk about, because I'm one of those people that can talk pretty much indefinitely, even though it's not true that I will necessarily always say something, but I'll definitely talk for a long time. I was once, I could talk about Kamala Harris if you want, I could talk about Donald Trump, I could just talk about anything I want. I was once asked if I could talk for about 2, 3, 4 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes. I said, listen, I could talk for 20 hours if you want. The question is if you want me to say anything. Saying something is much more difficult, but talking for me, unfortunately for most people who have to deal with the gibberish that comes out of my mouth, is always been fairly effortless. So without further ado, I'll just round off my comments now by entering into the final part of what I'm going to say before we go to hear about the B'nai Aliyah program from Nathaniel Good and Ari Deutsche, and we'll have a chance to hear from them. But before that, I'll just tell you this very short piece of life advice. If you're ever stuck in a situation and you think to yourself, I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of this situation, it's fair to say that after a short time has passed, you'll be further through the situation than you were before. It's deep, I know, blow you away. These things just come to me. Unbelievable. Tune in for more pearls of wisdom from whoever it might be. Are we going to cut? When are we cutting? Whenever I decide to. Right, well, I'll do a countdown then. 3, 2, 1, see you later.
Coming to this program means that you want to help your kid succeed and get stronger. Which parent doesn't want that for their kid?
Family families make Aliyah, and they want to see that not just their Aliyah is successful, they want to see their kids grow and become successful members of the community. So this really gives the kids the resilience to make it through.
The best thing you could do for your child is to build resilience so that as they go out to the world, they have what it takes to be successful. That's what we try to do here at Hakshiva.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
And realizing that it's okay to admit that I am vulnerable.
And when should I involve a professional?
The dynamics of the family changes when every single child is succeeding.
We have a continually growing array of programs that are suited and tailored to the needs of the community.
At Hakshiva, we help families build their resilience to be able to then help their children to succeed.
Hakshiva's vision is to build resilience into each individual.
Our ADHD Center helps building resilience exactly for these kind of situations.
Hakshiva builds the resilience that is so needed in these hard and difficult times.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience. Well, it just goes to show you how discombobulated anyone can get. There was me showing off how I could talk about nothing in particular, which I demonstrated pretty well. Unbeknown to me, though, I got completely bamboozled by my own schedule. We are going to hear, please God, from Ari Deutsche and from Hassan Good later on about the Bnei Aliyah program. They are not next on the schedule. It was all my misunderstanding. I said that later on we were going to have a chance to hear from Rav Dan Tiomkin, celebrated educational expert, media personality here in Israel, spoke to us about resilience, and face occasionally appears on the screen. So I wasn't lying, it's true. We are going to have him, and he in fact is next on our schedule. Yes, there he is. He is in fact next on our schedule, please God. So we'll have a chance to hear from him. We actually had a chance to catch up with him in English and in Hebrew. So if you understand enough English to understand the words that I'm saying now, but not enough English to follow the interview that we're going to have with him, you can check out our broadcast from yesterday, which is located, I don't know where. And at the very beginning, it was actually our interview with him in Hebrew, which was very, very interesting. It's not just a carbon copy of the English one. People speak in their own languages differently, so it was interesting to catch up with him then. He speaks also very beautifully in English, and we'll have a chance to hear from him very shortly, please God. Later on, later on in the evening, we will have a chance to hear about our Bnei Aliyah program. Nasana Good and Ari Deutsche talk to us about some of the challenges that people face when they make Aliyah, and some of the associated difficulties that they may have encountered, and exactly how that has inspired to inform the work that Hakshiva does and has helped many people along the way. So if all of that is very interesting, and I could tell you more about the people that are going to be in the studio, Rav Yosef Jason, He's going to be here later on. He's the head of the board of Hakshiva. So we'll have a chance to hear from him about some of the behind-the-scenes things that go on in the supportive world of how to get behind Hakshiva. And then later on we'll have a chance to hear in person here in the studio from the CEO of Hakshiva, Rav Matzia Spiegler, and the Executive Director of Hakshiva, Rav David Sipper. But all of that is very interesting, but not maybe as important in some ways as what the aim of the game right now is. Now, the aim of the game right now is to help Hakshiva reach their goal of $360,000 to continue what they do. We're pretty well. We're up to 78%. We're somewhere like $282,000, which is pretty good. It's very good. Well, even though I'm British and the master of understatement, that's very good. Well done, all of us. But on the other hand, there is a certain amount still to go. The best part of $80,000, and every donation you make will be doubled because the generous matching donors have stepped up once again to help make your donation go much further than it ordinarily would. So please, please, please make sure you take the moment to have a look somewhere over here on the screen at the yellow Donate Now box. Click on it and you can make your donation. You can make it out in honor of someone, in memory of someone, just to send a message to the universe. You can also write anonymous on it, whatever you want. If you do those things, you might find them scrolling here across the bottom of the screen like this, on this ticker thing, or whatever it is. I think it's called a ticker, and you'll see it scrolling across your screen, yeah, you can be part of helping Hakshiva continue. If you know people that might not be aware of this, it'd probably be a very good idea. That's me, by the way. That's my name. Yes. Thank you. It's important to get the word out about Hakshiva and about what they're doing. So if you do think of people that you think, I'm not sure that they know about this, tell them about it. We live in a fairly easy information age. It's really easy to share such information to people at almost a touch of a button, or a swipe of a screen, or a blink of the eye, or a nod of the head, or any other way of telling people. Morse code and messages in a small bottle. I've just been told I have to pad out 2 minutes. Well, katanalai, as they say in Hebrew. But yes, very important to help Hakshiva to continue the work they do. We are here, in fact, this room you would maybe recognize from looking through your screen and saying, oh yes, there they are again, sitting and talking and people in the background. But if you came in here on a normal night, and if you look at some of the promos you'll see going on through the evening, you'll see that this room is transformed. There are not huddles of people behind me making phone calls normally, and there are not whole camera crews and different things going over here. That's not normally here. What's normally here is the games room, pool tables, snooker table. It is actually technically snooker table, pool table as well. Many of you won't know what snooker is, but I haven't got time now to explain to you the differences, but if you know what pool is, that's good enough. Table tennis tables, piano, music. There's really a large emphasis on providing different environments for people to come and hang out in different after-school clubs, a teen club, sometimes in the afternoon, the evenings, whatever it might be. And then they also have a wider range of programming in Hakshiva. There's even a therapy center over here for young people, teenagers, couples, yes, someone said something to me in my ear, but I didn't hear what it was. What did you say? Start introducing Dan Tiomkin. I'd like to start by introducing Rav Dan Tiomkin. His picture is going to appear any minute now. Pew! And that was beyond belief here. Rav Dan Tiomkin is Israeli, but speaks unusually good English. He lives in Yerushalayim. He is a celebrated educational expert and media personality. In fact, when we had a chance to catch up with him, it was right in the middle of a schedule. He was running from this seminar to that thing, this retreat. He educates educators. It's one of the things he does. He teaches teachers and informs them of how to help people build their own levels of resilience and how to deal with people that have all sorts of range of ability or attention abilities, whatever it might be. Really very interesting person. We had an interview with him in Hebrew, as I mentioned. You can check that out if you can somehow access yesterday's broadcast, which is located exactly, if you want to check out yesterday's broadcast, it's located exactly in a place called I don't know where, but you'll be able to find out about that. And if you understand English, if you don't understand English, you don't understand what I'm saying now anyway. If you understand American, you might understand every few words. But if you want to hear a very interesting thing, you'll be able to catch up with Anton. Let me check the time now. It's exactly the right time. Am I right? It's exactly the right time? It's exactly the right time. So without further ado, later on B'nai Aliyah, of course, but without further ado, let's hear from Dan Tiomkin. Enjoy. We'll be back a little bit later. I'm here with Rav Dan Tiomkin, educational expert, ADHD expert, author, columnist. What more do I need to say about Dan Tiomkin, a very popular media personality in Israel as well? Shalom, Rav Dan.
Shalom, shalom.
So this year's theme is resilience. That's what we're talking about. So maybe we just start with a brief. What is resilience, and why is it something so important to focus on in young people?
It is very important. I'll make a small introduction. Our mind has two operating systems. We have the regular mode, in which we are in control and we have the ability to organize and to plan and to delay gratifications and do all kind of sophisticated cognitive things in our frontal cortex, in our executive function mode. This is what we do when we're in regular situations. But we have another operating system, which is called the survival mode, in which when we are there, we are much less organized and much less abilities to see the other. We are very, very concentrated in survival. What we have to do to live. Fight, flight, freeze. Different wiring of the brain, different nervous system. Everything is changing. If someone sees a bear, he doesn't supposed to think about his color and about the sunset on the background. He should only think on one thing. How can I survive? Fight, maybe better yet, run for it with all your power. We have the different hormones that can help us to do those survival acts. This is our mind when we are in threat. Now, if right now there was a motorcycle and it would do and we would both jump because we would think it might be a siren. And if it's a siren and it's a rocket attack on Israel right now, oy vey, where are my kids? What am I supposed to do right now? Where is the miklat? Where is the safe zone to be? And in that second, you would forget about your microphone and about the camera and everything. We would all run together because we'll switch to survival mode. But as healthy people, if we find out that it's not really a siren, it's only a motorcycle, then 1 second or 2 seconds after, we'll do, oh Hashem, everything is okay, back to normal. Resilience is the amount of time that we need to go from the survival mode back to the regular mode. And with some people, since they were exposed to trauma, post-trauma events, post-trauma situations, complex post-trauma, then their resilience is much less strong, which means that small things can crack their ability to be resilient against the world. And it's a problem because we live in a situation, in an age where so many traumas and so many horrible events around us. We want our kids to be strong. We want our kids to have the ability not to crack and to break, but to be very, very strong. And this is up to us. If we give a house, if our house will be a warm home with less criticism and less judgmental environment, and rather than that will be warm and friendly and will empower them, then it's not just, okay, love, 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 new age stuff. No, this is the way to build their resilience. This is the way to make them strong against the traumas and the hard events we're all going through.
So that's what resilience is. So how important is it to have solid role models in parents to be able to provide that important tool to their children?
It's the most important thing, I think. This is one of the major roles of us as parents, because as parents we should protect them, and it's very, very important. And we should feed them and nourish them and take care of all their needs. But their needs are not only needs of food and shelter. Their needs is also spiritual needs, to feel safe in this world, to feel worthy, to feel important. And this is what resilience do. And if we as parents underestimate in those parts of our parenting, and we will be too nervous, too judgmental, too critical. Now don't want to despair and to give anyone the idea that it's too late. It's never too late. We can always try and aim for it. And if it requires, do whatever it takes to work on ourselves. There is a holy debt on us to do, if I can't manage it properly, to go to treatment myself and to help myself to be a better parent, a better husband, a better human being, so I wouldn't be so panicked and anxious every time something bad happened.
So parents often say, my teenager's cutting me out, they give me one-word answers, they're not really, connecting with me. What is a parent supposed to do to try to keep open lines of communication when it's like a one-way street and they don't really have a partner?
First, we have to be less critic and less judgmental, because if I'm giving bikoret and tochachot and all the time I'm telling my kid what he's doing wrong, then obviously he wouldn't want to be with me or to tell me his deepest secrets. So it requires me to understand that the problems are much deeper and much more available these days than others, and it requires me to be more patient. Second, it is a difficult age, a difficult time. I have to find smart solutions, smart environments. Sometimes in my house, when the laundry machine is working and I have so many tasks and so many things to do, then I'm not really minded to sit quietly and to listen, to really listen. People hearing without listening, said wise Jew once. And sometimes we also hear without listening, and it's a problem. So I can take times off and go to the beach, or go to do barbecue somewhere, or go to walk around the street, I don't know, where my cell phone is off and I'm really tuned to listen to my kid and to listen really what's bothering him and what his needs are, and not underestimate and not make fun of his fears. They are true and genuine, and even though I have my solutions, first hear, validate, and with that kind of atmosphere, with that kind of relationship, I think the kids would be a bit better. It's still not much better, because there are some kids whose character is more close and internal, but if I know it and I'm davening for it, I'm praying that I will find the right words. And even though I did mistakes, it's inevitable, but right now I'm looking forward and I'm trying with all my power to make him believe and see that I want only the best for him. And I won't judge him and I won't blame him, and I understand his feelings and I want to help him. I think it would be the first move that's required here.
When parents see that one child is swerving, the other children, maybe they're not, but how does a parent balance that in a home where they've got to balance also good relationships with the kids that are maybe more straightforward, and they also have to deal with a kid who's swerving? How do they make that balance?
There is no finger advice, smart advice that can work it all out. It's complicated, but Kodesh Baruch Hu made it complicated. Since we don't have only one kid, we have a few. Kodesh Baruch Hu knew it all and he took it all under consideration when he planned this world. And my job here is to try to navigate and juggle and try the best. So sometimes I can take each kid alone for small conversations outside on falafel or pizza, or walk around the block. And sometimes when they're all together, then sometimes it is bad influence, but what can I do? This is the situation, this is reality, this is real life. I think a boat doesn't sink because of the waves outside, it waves because of the crack in the boat. And if a kid really feels that I love him, that I accept him, he doesn't have to fight for his own identity all the time, then even if his brother is giving him a bad role model and he's doing crazy things, he wouldn't want to be like him, because he's not really happy and enjoying life with all the things he does. So this is our job here, to invest in time as much as we can to make every kid to feel special, loved, empowered. That's what makes his resilience go higher, and the more are the odds that he wouldn't crack down from the nisyonot and the bad events that are happening all over.
How does a parent respond to his child's or her child's anxieties and fears when they themselves as parents often suffer from the same anxieties and fears?
I think there's a debt on us to treat ourselves before we teach others. But we can also tell the truth to the kid. I have my own problems and I'm working on it. You know that. Please help me not to trigger me, or please be understanding about myself. But if he sees that I'm working on it and I'm going to treatment and I'm doing whatever I can to be better, then it would be the biggest lesson ever possible that I can teach my kid. I don't have to fake it and to play as if I'm someone who's not fear, because he'll see me. The kids see us even all the time. They have very, very sensitive sensors and antennas. They know who we are. But if we see that we are working on ourselves and trying to make our well-being better, then they will have the motivation and the role model to do so themselves.
I guess now in the present, where we are now in our part of history, in the aftermath of COVID and all the different implications of what's going on in the environment of war and all the broader effects, how are young people's resilience levels holding up? And how are parents who are going through the same events, how are they able to provide security and resilience, nurturing environments for their children?
So kids are not always that exposed to everything. They look at us and they see how we are dealing with it. Now, if we're listening to the news 24/7, 24/6, all the time, news, and we have our own anxieties all the time, then this is what the kids see. Now, I don't say don't listen to the news. It's impossible. We have to listen to the news to know what to pray for. But we don't have to do it all day long. So if there is only once or twice a day, or only a special group we're in and we're keeping updated from that group, but all the other time we're trying, and we should try as hard as we can to make the soundtrack of the house to be pleasant. Music, if we're forced to be home in vacations or so, to do board games, or small trips, or large trips, or barbecue, or all kind of creative events to make bonding together. This is what they remember. Now they know there is a war. We can't hide those facts. They knew that there is COVID and many tzarot all the time. And yet, if they see us dealing with it, not lying and faking as if everything is great, because it's not, find time to listen to the news, find time to say Tehillim that the rockets won't kill us and all the Chatufim, hostages, will come back alive as soon as possible, Bezrat Hashem. And we pray for it, that we'll have the Yishuv Dat, the calmness with each kid, to know to bond with him and with his heart, and to let him know that we love him and accept him the way he is, and we want only the best for him. It's always important, but in times like this, I think it's critical. It's crucial.
I mean, in times like this, how do you see the war, we'll talk about the war now, affecting kids and their families' mental health, and what can be done to help, slow or prevent short-term and long-term fallout from that?
It really depends what age are we talking about. If it's smaller kids, it's easier because they're not exposed that much. They look at us, and as I said, board games, trips, travels, that can do the work. With teenagers, it's difficult, much more difficult, because they are exposed, and they were exposed to horrible, horrible things no one should ever see. And it's a problem, but what can we do? We can, again, show them how much we love them and accept them, and how much we are dealing it with ourselves. And it is a problem. It's an nisayon. It's a post-trauma. Our nation is going through a major post-trauma. It's not even post. We're still in the middle of that trauma. So you can't say everything is okay. Right now, I really hope by the time they edit and broadcast it, all the hostages would come back and the Mashiach would come and everything would be fine. But if Chas v'Shalom, that's not the situation, we are in the middle of a trauma here. In the middle of the trauma, you do need to survive before you talk about your mental health. So we're trying to juggle between survival and having relaxed time with our families. And since I don't give you an exact answer and I'm just going around the bush, I'll have to say we have to pray for it. That's the most accurate answer I can give. Kadosh Baruch Hu, you gave us kids, great kids, and we're three partners here. Me, the mother, and you. We are the three partners here. Now we can do only that much because the situation we're dealing with is too severe. So please, you are the third partner. You know exactly what we can do and what we can't do. But you also want the best for our kids. You're a partner. You love them, not less than us. And you want the best for them, not less for us. So please, even though I'm not worthy to be the best father of the year, but since we are partners here, help me not to do mistakes. Help me to do the right things, to say the right words, to be more calm and more relaxed and more peace of mind, to help me not to ruin here in this impossible situation. I think when I leave the situation and I lean and I ask for help, this is also very, very important. A crucial thing. Without it, it's almost impossible to succeed.
I mean, really, we have to be consistent. I mean, often we'll hear people saying, well, I have a frum home, a Torah home, and my child this, and this. It's like, well, if you are a frum home, you have to also bring tefillah into, you can't, not everything is therapy and experts and everything. There's also your own piece there.
I think this is the main reason why Kodesh Baruch Hu is making us go through this hard time, because there is a thing called post-trauma growth. Sometimes from the trauma, from the difficult events, we are growing. The Kotzker Rebbe said that there is nothing more whole than a broken heart. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Nothing is more whole than a broken heart. In the Bet HaMikdash there was luchot v'shivrei luchot ba'aron. In the covenant there was the luchot habrit and the breaks of the first luchot. Sometimes when someone, his life is so smooth and everything is going easy and everything is okay, then he's fake, then he's not himself, he's not connected to his real self. And he's living the life of votim and nice, but it's not really there. But the difficult events we're going through sometimes really make us connected to much more authentic and much more real faith and belief. And this is our goal here. So again, there is so much pain on the way, so I'm not talking about it. Only now I'm talking about it. After I validated the pain and after I tried all my best to do all the efforts possible to make my house nice and warm and pleasant and kind and respectful, but in the end, after all the efforts and all the prayers, I can say what we're going through is not Chas v'shalom, as if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to revenge or to make us suffer. Chas v'shalom, there's a bigger purpose for all of it, and it will make us be connected in a much deeper and more authentic levels than we can possibly imagine without it. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good and He wants only the best for us.
So on the topic of consistency, what do parents who have very different approaches in education do in terms of providing a united educational front to their children?
When I meet with parents and I see that there are different approaches, I say, listen, your shalom bayis is not interesting right now. We have a mission to save the kid. And I understand with the tools that you have right now, father, daddy, why are you so strict? And I understand you, mommy, why you are so protecting. But both of your current solutions can't really work if the kid is in risk. And you have to learn the tools that are relevant to help him in this situation. And there are a whole set of rules, not the classic education rule. There's a whole kids in crisis set of rules. That's what the Nesiv Shalom says in his contrast about education, about chinuch. He said there's a classic set of rules in education, and there's crisis chinuch. It's a different set of rules, and you have to get familiar with that set of rules also. And again here, if the situation there are gaps, okay, small different approaches are acceptable. And it's also a lesson in education when the kid see that I don't totally agree with his mom, and yet I respect and give place for her approach also, and counterwise. But if the differences are so huge and it's making a problem, then it's not a shame to go to a professional who has the tools and the right approach to kids in crisis. Am Yisrael had experience with that always. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai had a grandchild who went off the derech, and many of our sages, Rishonim, Achronim, had kids, and we have Masoret from the Baal Shem Tov, and from the Chazon Ish, and from Rav Ovadia, and from all the Israel, how to act, how to respond, how to make the right atmosphere, and how to use the right tools when kids went off the derech. It's a different set of rules, and if I know it and I'm going for help, I have nothing to be ashamed of. I don't know this set of rules because I wasn't off the derech, so I didn't see, I don't have tradition how to deal with those kinds of kids. But there are experts who bring that Gdolei Israel, and it's a pity not to learn from their experience and to make so many mistakes on the way.
One of the ways to identify when a teenager might be experiencing being overwhelmed or anxious, and when should I involve a professional?
If you see a big change in the kid, he doesn't go out of his room, he doesn't eat that much, he talks about suicide or about life is meaningless, then we have a problem. And then you should call the experts. Sometimes it's your family doctor. Today family doctors are trained not only to check the throat for strep, but also to do where there are threats like that. I think also Hakshiva has a place here. You have experts that can help parents. And Baitcha, Meran, if there's a doubt, then there is no doubt. Try to seek for help, and if they tell you everything is okay, then you can relax and do your thing with strength and empowering the kids and have as much bonding and quality time together. But if something is too risky and too weird here, then ask for help.
Someone who's listening to this might be worried about some of the things we're discussing and saying, oh yes, well I see how important it is to give my children resilience, and I never did it when they were born, and now my house is, as you said, down the line. You know, what immediate steps should they take, and how can an organization like Hakshiva help?
I think quality time together with each child is something that is possible, and you can always do it. When all the kids are together, then you don't have your peace of mind to act. But if you take only one child to eat a burger or to go to a pizza, not together, either a burger or a pizza, you can't mix, you have to remember that. But if you do small quality times, bonding times, and you talk, and more than talk, you listen, try to listen what's bothering them, then we always have the privilege to fix things. That's the power of tshuva, that's the power of, the kids always want to see me as his parent, that I'm there for him, and even if I did mistakes, I can apologize for it. I'm only a human being. I'm learning. No one was born here with all the data, with all the skills and all the tools, how to be the perfect parent. We don't know. We learn on the way. So I did mistake. It's inevitable, but yet I am willing to admit, and I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to improve myself. But for that, I need to listen, and I have to be in better, warmer, closer relationship with each and every one of my childs. So this is a goal that I have to look for and try to do it.
I tried doing it. I tried to go out with my child. I tried to take them out, and they're like, no, they were not interested. And I see there's an issue. You said I have to listen. I mean, Hakshiva means to listen. But I'm not managing. What else can I do?
With small kids, it's easy. For example, if I ask my kid when he's coming back from kindergarten or from first, second class, how was school today, he would probably say, it was fun, and that's it. But if I ask him that same question when he's in bed after his bedtime, when I'm coming to tell him good night, and then I'll ask that same question, I'll probably get much more longer answer, because now it's on my time. Now I'm paying for the time. So now he will tell much more. So it's an opportunity for me not to be out in these precious times, but to try to be home and to try to eat before, so I won't be angry and upset, and try to make the maximum of these opportunity times. With bigger kids, it's difficult because their clock is LA time, and it requires me to be up much later and find much more creative solutions of how to bond with them. And yet, this is what I have to do. And if I don't know how to do it, I will consult with Hakshiva experts. I can read books, can make small advertising for my book, Unripe Angels. That's the topic of that book. How to make times, how to catch opportunities, how to bond, how to increase the relationship to a level that it's much more friends. And this is what Rabbi Gershon Edelstein always said, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. He always said you have to be with your kids with a relationship of honoring, respect, and friendship. He didn't say love because this is obvious. Of course I love my kid, but because I love him, I want him to act like a human being. I want him to come home. So love can be interpreted by the kid as acts of not respect and not friendship and not, I do it because I love him, but he doesn't see it that way. But if I try to go for friendship, I want us to be friends. Of course he's a kid and I'm the parent. Of course there is dinei kibud avaim, mora avaim. We should give respect and be fearful. Of course, but on the emotional level, we should be friends. And I should try to find creative ways to make our relationship friendly and kind. And if I'm davening for it, I want it, and I'm trying to find the ways, then I will find it. If it's not my aim in life, I want to work, I want to bring money. Of course, it's not money for myself, it's all for the kids and for our next trip, and everything is kosher and great. But for the kid, it's not interpreted as love. So if I want to make the love friendly, I have to find smart solutions, smart ways to consult with my wife, to consult with my parents. And then they'll all give me small advices what this kid needs. There are different languages of love. Some kids need more compliments, and some kids need more small presents, and some kids measure love by if I'm there for them when they need me, to drive them, to be with them, quality times, sometimes touch, to hug, to hold, to respect. I have to observe to see what is the language of my kid, the love language of my kid, each and every one of them, and how I can provide it in sophisticated, clever ways.
Can you either share a success story or describe what a success story of kids equipped with resilience, or parents maybe who learn to give their children resilience tools that maybe demonstrates this? It is a transformative power of resilience.
Yes, but I have to make a small introduction and then talk about the word. I don't know how you say it in English. Do you have the word questionable? Someone you can ask and share and he's always there for you?
Receptive, maybe.
Receptive. Open. Okay, so we have to be receptive. So I'll say a small story. I have a friend who teaches a lot about muganut. He teaches about how to guard ourselves and protect ourselves from strangers or from molestations. And in one city down in the south of Israel, there were several tragic stories. And since most people go to the Rav when something happens, the Rav of that city decided to make a ishtalmut, like a conference, 6 lectures that all the Rabbanim would hear about this subject. So my friend came to give that course, and he said at first he was very embarrassed because all the Rabbanim there had a long white beard, and he's a frum person, and yet, okay, but the Rabbanim knows Torah, and he wanted to teach what to do when they found out, and one brother messed kids in the family, and all kind of those stories, who we must call, what must we do. They don't know those practical tools, and this is what he taught for 6 lessons. After a few months, he went to a wedding, and from the Mizrach, one of the Rabbanim there saw him and recognized him and came down to talk with him. And do you remember me? I was one of the Rabbanim in that city down south when you gave us the course about protection. I want to thank you again for all the most important data you taught us. Thanks to you, I helped so many families in the past 2 or 3 months. But I have one question for you, he said. Why do you have to go around and tell all over my city that I'm your student and you taught me about these issues? So my friend said, why the Rav suspect that I said all around? He said, I don't suspect, I know that you did, but I'm not angry with you. I'm happy that you did it because thanks to that I helped so many families. I'm just curious, why did you have to go around and tell everyone that I learned from you? So again, my friend asked why the Rav thinks I said so, because I didn't. He said, listen, I'm a Rav for more than 30 years now. And for more than 30 years, the question I'm being asked is about Arbat Aminim, or Taire, or dairy teaspoon in the meaty pot. Never was I asked any question from the area that you taught us. Never. 30 years, even not one question. And when we finished that course that you taught us, every week I have 2 or 3 questions from this area. How do they know to come to me with those questions? You told them that I'm your student and they can ask me. So my friend told him, no, I'm sorry, I didn't tell anyone. I'll tell you what happened here. For 30 years, you weren't, your vibe, you didn't, לא שידרת.
You didn't present yourself as receptive to these things.
You weren't presentive, again. You weren't presentive. You were so professional and accurate, and you were very severe, and you were very concentrated in what people came, and they felt they can't ask you those questions. So they asked another question, also a very important one, but not the real question that was bothering them. But now, since you know and you're receptive, you show them that they can ask you. And they feel it on the vibe, they can feel it on the air, and therefore they don't have to ask the other question, they can ask the real question that is bothering them. Now the same thing here. If you want to increase the resilience of our kids, we have to show them it's okay. If you saw something, if you did something, whatever it is, if you have questions, if you have doubts, you can talk with me, I'm your father, I love you. Now I'm not getting upset and I'm not losing it. When I was your age, I also had doubts, I also did stupid, foolish things. You can talk to me. Because if the kid will talk to me, I'm sure that my answers will be much more positive, much more accurate, much more optimistic than any other answers he might get on the street from his friends or whatever. So I want to be receptive. I want to show the kid that I'm here for him. Now I can't write him a letter. My kid, I decided to be receptive. From this day on, you can... No, he would feel it. So it requires understanding that in this generation, when the temptations and the traumas are so there all the time, what the kids have is us. So we have to be there for them. And we have to find of the right ways, smart ways, sophisticated ways to show it and to make them feel really safe. And at the end of the day, when their resilience will be higher, it's the best protection and the best thing we can do for them as parents. Because, like Rashi says, when the load is on the donkey, it takes only one person to keep it there. But if it already fell, now it requires 5 people to bring it back on. When we find the small times, doesn't take all day long, small times, but to tune into it, then we can help ourselves and help the kids from so much suffering, so much pain and so much complications that may come if we don't pay this attention.
And finally, why do you believe it's important for people to support Hakshiva?
Well, the answer is very easy. Hakshiva is the shofar and the channel that brings my words and many other wiser and smarter people than me. And I think today parents need the guidance. Sometimes some parents need it more, some parents need it less. Some situations in life you need it more, so in some situations in life you need it less. But where there is a channel that gives you the professional advices with the right hashkofe, it's really necessary. So I think it's a privilege and a big zchut to support and help others to hear the good advices they need to hear.
Rav Dan Tiomkin, it's been a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. אין קפסולה לחוסן. הילד לא אכפת לו בדיוק כמה איומים קיומיים יש על ישראל וכמה איומים קיומיים יש על העם היהודי. הוא בסוף מסתכל על אמא ואבא. אם רואים אמא ואבא, שלמרות כל הקושי, מצליחים לשמור על חיוך ועל אווירה נעימה, מגדל בריא יותר בנפשו.
אז הצטרפו אלינו לשידור חי ביום ראשון, שני, 15 ו-16 לספטמבר, על נושא של החוסן. Welcome back to the Hakshiva live studio. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Rav Dan Tiomkin. Really a very interesting person, very interesting perspectives. The way he defined things was so succinct and precise. If you don't know what succinct means, you can look it up in a dictionary if you have such a thing. And if not, you can just Google it, probably the normal way to do it. As we mentioned earlier, we have some recorded interviews for you to have a look at on your screen to inform yourselves about this year's topic of resilience. But we also have time to be here live in the studio. I am proud to report back to you that we have crossed the $300,000 threshold, so we're well on our way. We're over $306,000, which is kind of an anagram of 360, but that doesn't count. We're at 80, how much? 85%. 81%, so that's good. But we're not there yet. Let's try and do it while we're on air. So if you don't know how to donate, somewhere over there on your screens is the donate button. It's in yellow to help you distinguish it from, I don't know how many other buttons are there. Donate. Every donation that you make will be doubled by the generous matching donors that have stepped forward once again to help Hakshiva the wonderful work they do. Well, we're here in the studio, and we promise you that not only will there be interviews that you'll see on your screen, but we'll have interviews here live in the studio. And I'm very honoured to have here, I can describe the next person in different ways. I can call him Rav Yosef Jason, who made Aliyah from England, a prominent member of the community and is involved in Hakshiva. Or I can tell you, he's my chavrusa from years gone by. But if I don't tell you that, you won't know about it. So I'm not going to tell you, so you won't know about it. But it gives me great pleasure to welcome Rav Yosef Jason to the studio.
Thank you, Bart. Thank you.
No, thanks for being here. Now, Rav Yosef Jason is the head of the board of Hakshiva. I have no idea what this means.
Nor do I.
Neither does he, which is good to know. But I think we'll ask him two main questions. The first question is, what does it mean that you're doing that? And then we're going to ask him, why are you doing any of this? So first of all, what does it mean to be involved on the board of Hakshiva? What does that actually mean in practice?
What it means is taking a crisis for what I believe to be one of the most important tzedakahs in the community. We are taking care of those youngsters, both children and teenagers, who have struggled primarily with Aliyah and other reasons as well, and we want to make them as integrated as possible into the community and their lives. We don't have a particular agenda of bringing them to yeshiva or to the army or to this or to that or the other. Our agenda is to make them as wholesome, as functioning as possible, so they can contribute in the later life through marriage and through other growth in other areas, through work, etc., etc.
And what does the board of Hakshiva do? I mean, they're the ones that sit down to try and improve planning and things?
The board's function is really twofold. One is primarily fundraising, raising money for the programs itself. And secondly, validating and reviewing each of the programs and see which are most appropriate for the communities at which we're dealing with. We're fortunate we have a phenomenally professional staff headed by an outstanding director, Matthew Spiegel. And through him and through the rest of the staff, we look at the programs, we ask questions of the programs, and we comment, and sometimes help to adapt the programs to the needs of the community. We're not professionals, we don't pretend to be professionals. Our job is to work with the professionals to maximize their potential in doing their job.
So the board basically has Hakshiva's back. Hakshiva's making the frontline work with the experts, and you have their back. We have their back in many ways. Sometimes there are difficulties in the community, sometimes there are youngsters with very difficult problems, and not everybody understands how we deal with problems and what needs to be done. And sometimes it can look that we're not going down the route that people would expect to go down, but we're always going down the route is right for the child, and we have the backs of the professionals to make sure that people who are in the wider community understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. Well, I guess that brings us to the next question, which is why? Why on Hashem's earth would a man who's made Aliyah come to relax in Eretz Israel and learn Hashem's Torah, which I know that you do a lot of? Why would you get involved in this?
Well, first of all, there's no such thing as relaxing in Eretz Israel. We're all here to do something, to learn primarily and to help other people as much as we can in the ways that we're capable of doing so. The real question is, why was an old man like me bother with it all? Many people ask me the same question regularly. I don't have children in Bet Shemesh, I don't have grandchildren in Bet Shemesh, so why am I doing it? I'm doing it because I feel very strongly that when anybody passes a child in the street and that child needs help, we help. I don't know anyone who would walk past a child that's fallen over or grazed his knee or done something worse that wouldn't stop and help. How much more so with children who are struggling with their learning in school, struggling in staying in school, struggling with social relationships, struggling occasionally with parental relationships, struggling in many ways, and sometimes very much worse. And we don't want to get to the situation where children are being ignored to the point that they fall off the edge, and we're dealing with what's traditionally called children at risk, which is a terrible phrase because it's a cliche, but we don't want to get to that situation. In one of the studies we read very recently this week, in the last few weeks, we are instructed that if a load falls off a donkey, we help reload that donkey. It takes one person to help reload the donkey, and takes 5 people to take the load off the floor and put it back on the donkey. If that's with a donkey and loads, how much more so with children? How much more so should we be helping the child not fall off the edge, and help him before he or she falls off the edge? And how much more so should we be helping when that child does fall off the edge? How much more so should we provide the help, the assistance needed for that child, for those parents, to make sure that child, that teenager, becomes a very strong and functioning adult? If we can do so with a load and an animal, how much more so we should be doing with our children? So I feel very strongly, very passionately, it's my responsibility as an individual and our responsibility collectively to help every single child we can in every way we can. There's no way that we can blind our eyes to what's going on around us. We have an obligation to help everybody that needs help in the best way possible. It's a partnership. By helping every child in Hakshiva, you are not only helping that child, not only are you helping the subsequent children of that child, but you're helping yourself. By helping the child, you are helping yourself, you're helping your own children, and you're helping your own grandchildren. It's a partnership of help. We're all part of the same community, we're all part of one klal, and we have to recognize our responsibilities to help each other. We can do so with Hakshiva through giving time, and at the moment we need, I'm sorry to say so, but we need money. We need lots of money to help many, many children. I can also tell you on my previous question that I've made sure, and I continue to make sure, that every single penny that we get is spent wisely and intelligently. No penny is wasted at all. Everything is counted for and everything is reviewed on a very regular basis. So your money donated today, not only will it be doubled, but you are helping every single child. And that, I can't tell you how important it is. I can't tell you how much you would appreciate what you're doing, and the people themselves, the children themselves and the teenagers themselves will appreciate what will be done for them. Not necessarily today, but tomorrow, in their future lives, when they turn around and say, Hakshiva helped me. I am where I am today because of Hakshiva. I am where I am today because of those who supported Hakshiva. I'm urging you, all of you, to look into yourselves and look into your pockets and see how much you can do to help yourselves and help our children. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. But people often make jokes about people being on the board because everyone's bored. They play, don't they? But it's it's beautiful to see someone who's so involved in the board and so passionate. The way you say about it. You just said about staying away from negative cliches. The last year or so, we've all been doing. Everyone's doing different things. They've been doing. The very least we've been doing maybe has been getting together as a community, saying Tehillim, davening, singing Achenu. And we say these, we sing it, and we mean it, but sometimes we lose it. It becomes almost cliched. Yeah, Achenu kol Beit Yisrael. But you're describing exactly that. You wouldn't see someone crying on the street and walk past. You have to feel the pain of others and make sure that you step up.
Step up to the plate. Yes, the whole of Klal Yisrael is going through a very, very, very difficult trauma at the moment, and the children in the local community are no different. they're a microcosm in a sense of what's going on elsewhere within Klal Yisrael. I can't help the army. I can't fight in the army. There's a limitation of what I can do other than give money and help in the way that I can help. What I can do, and what I want you to do, is help our own children, our neighbours' children, our friends' children, and sometimes literally our own children and our own grandchildren. It's our responsibility, Chevra. It's our responsibility. If we give up on this responsibility, when we go upstairs on Be'ezrim, we'll answer for that responsibility because we are all brothers together. Achim, all of us are brothers together. If we don't help, then we'll have to answer to that. I will have to answer that. As chairman of the organisation, if I've not persuaded you, I've not done my job as well as I could do. So help me to help you and help our children. Thank you, everybody.
All right. So I think basically, if I understand your message correctly, in view of everything that you said above, it's important for people to donate right now as a part of this campaign.
Right now.
I see. I'm good at understanding the basics.
Got the you certainly understood.
Got the gist.
And if I've been too passionate, I apologise, but I do feel very passionately about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And for all those who are helping, all those who can help, and all those who can't help, would want to help, thank you.
I think that actually makes the biggest difference. Meaning, you said, I don't have children and grandchildren here at Shemesh. It's not like a personal agenda here. It's a national agenda. It's a communal agenda. It's an amazing thing. So
it's a communal agenda. For all of us.
On a personal note, it's great to catch up with you here and to see that you are getting younger every day, still being passionate about things and making big changes. I remember when we started learning in England, you were doing something else, some crazy stuff.
We were learning together in England 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You were not grey-haired. I was, but you weren't.
Well, you did it. I wasn't grey-haired before I started learning with you. I'm just pointing out. I always remember you being involved in communal causes, and this is no different. So, first of all, Rav Yosef Jason, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. It's a privilege. Thank you to all.
And make sure that you continue. Take the advice of Rav Yosef Jason, or take the, I can't say command, but take the initiative of Rav Yosef Jason and the passion to find yourself somewhere over here on the screen, the Donate Now button. Click on it. If you've donated already, you can donate again. I think there's no rules about these kind of things. And every donation that you make is doubled. So please help us get to our goal. We've pushed over the $306,000 mark. So we're really in the last 309. So basically almost like $50,000 left. If you've got $25,000 and thinking like, where shall I put it? Put it here now. We can get this done. We'll be back after a very short break for more time in the studio, more prattling on for myself. A big thank you to Yosef Jason. And we'll be back very shortly. Join us soon.
In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
And realizing that it's okay to admit that I am vulnerable.
And when should I involve a professional?
The dynamics of the family changes when every single child is succeeding.
We have a continually growing array of programs that are suited and tailored to the needs of the community.
At Hakshiva, we help families build their resilience to be able to then help their children to succeed.
Hakshiva's vision is to build resilience into each individual.
Our ADHD Center helps building resilience exactly for these kind of situations.
Hakshiva builds the resilience that is so needed in these hard and difficult times.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
If you feel or see that your child or yourself are struggling with what seems like ADHD, don't hesitate, we could help you. Our ADHD Center helps people to overcome their difficulties, the obstacles, and achieve their greatest potential that every person has.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience. We're back in the Hakshiva studio. We're up to $309,500. We are well over the 300,000 mark. We are pushing towards the 310,000 mark, pretty much there. And then we have the final, only $50,000 to go. So only on the one hand, on the other hand, time's running out, guys. Let's see if we can get there. We're in the final hour of our broadcast, the final 2 hours of the campaign. So let's make sure that we get this right. We're back in the studio here. Before, we had Rav Yosef Jason just a few minutes ago. The head of the board of Hakshiva spoke very passionately, very beautifully about the fact that despite the fact he hasn't got any children or grandchildren here in Ramat Shemesh, he is passionately involved in this building the future of our young people and the community. In a short time, we're going to go and hear about the B'nai Aliyah program that Hakshiva runs, which is really helping people interface with all sorts of things when they make Aliyah. We're going to have a chance to hear from the Son of Good and Ari Deutscher. In the meantime, we're back here in the studio, and I'm joined by that person who was there before. Rav Yosef Jason is an ex-chavrusa of mine, or no, well, you're never an ex-chavrusa, and now a current chavrusa of mine. This is Eliyahu Akiva Shlita. He is his family name is Mays, and by dint of that makes him my son. And it's a great honor for him to be here. Sorry, for me to have him here. Hello, Eliyahu. How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. That's a good response. What do you think of this evening? How are you enjoying what's going on?
It's pretty good, yeah.
Pretty good. That's a very pretty good. Very good. Right, I'm going to ask you very quick fire questions. What do you think about the topic of resilience?
What is resilience?
Well, resilience in Hebrew is chosen.
So, resilience is chosen.
So, chosen and resilience. The ability to bounce back from difficult things. Ever gone through anything difficult in your life? Apart from me?
Yeah, learning with you is pretty tough.
And what would you say? What would be your strategy if you needed to go through a difficult time and how to deal with it? What would your strategy be?
So I think you should do things that you enjoy. Like me personally, like play the piano or go to sleep.
Right, very, very good point. If you had a difficult day, I relate to the piano thing myself. Sit down, play the piano. Or even sometimes just have a sleep and clear head. That can be a very basic level of resilience. Other people might need something more because they've been through a difficult experience which affects them in more ways. So that would be your recommendation for someone like you. What about if I told you the following words? Would this make you feel uncomfortable if I said, Manchester United are not winning many games? Would that bother you?
Yeah, very much.
And how would you deal with it? Other than fire Ten Hag and get a new squad and other than that, how would you deal with it?
So Man U are an amazing team, so I wouldn't tell you that you're lying because you're my father, so I'll tell you in a nice way. You're not saying the truth.
Wow. Well, let me ask you a question. Tell me how many things they've won this year.
0.
Aha.
But no other team won anything this year.
I rest my case. Gives me a chance to say thank you very much to Eliyahu. Any messages to people should people donate?
Donate to Team Maze! Woo!
Oh yes, donate Team Maze. That's a good point. Don't forget to donate. There's different teams. There is a Team Maze, and in honor of Eliyahu, you can donate to him. In the meantime, we are going to go now to listen to Nissan Good and Ari Deutscher about the B'nai Aliyah program of Hakshiva, and then we'll be back here for more sound bites in the studio as we reach the end of the campaign. Don't forget down here to click the donate now button and make sure that you make a donation now. It's the last chance. Push us up over $360,000, which is our goal. Enjoy, 88% right now. Enjoy the interview about Bnei Aliyah, and we'll see you afterwards. I'm here with Nathaniel Good and Ari Deutscher, who respectively help put together and direct the Bnei Aliyah program. What is it? Let's find out. Hi, how are you doing?
Good morning.
Okay, so what inspired you, plural I guess, to join and be involved in the work that Hakshiva does?
Sure, so we saw a need. We saw many kids going through the yeshiva system that are good, healthy kids and need a little more, need a little bit of a friend, need some older mentor, something of that nature to give them the chizuk, to give them the feeling that they can do more.
And you just heard about Hakshiva and walked in one day. How did you get involved?
When I came to Ramat Beit Shemesh, I heard about Hakshiva and all the wonderful things that Hakshiva does, including the Moadon, including all the different types of therapy services that Hakshiva offers. And when this idea surfaced of helping kids that are considered to be mainstream kids in the system, giving them the support so that they remain mainstream, so that they can continue to thrive, we felt that this belonged in Hakshiva.
And you, Ari, how did you get involved in Hakshiva?
So I've been involved in various programs over the years, schools, yeshivas, after-school programs, alternative education, and Hakshiva's name has always come up the forefront, involved in many layers of the community, in mentoring, in the schools, providing support, in therapeutic services. So again, when we saw the need in the community, that there are kids that maybe we can head them off before they're at risk and do more preventative work so that it doesn't get to that point, Hakshiva seems like the natural jumping off point to link up with them and use their resources.
Amazing. So let's talk a bit about the Bnei Aliyah program. What do you see as the main goals of this department of Hakshiva? And how do you see them making a difference in the lives of the young people and their families?
I think that the main goal of Bnei Aliyah is to be able to provide the fortitude to kids in the yeshiva system so that they believe in themselves and so that they could focus in on what's important and have the strength to make it through school, through the yeshiva system, and Bezrat Hashem become healthy, strong, productive adults.
So how do you see in practice, on the ground, the program delivering for young people?
So I think the goals of the program are the same goals that the parents have of the kids and that the kids have for themselves. Families make Aliyah, and they want to see that not just their Aliyah is successful, that they settle in the community. They want to see their kids grow and become successful members of the community and go on. And so this really gives the kids the resilience to make it through. And to, there are so many, in any chinuch situation, there are pitfalls and there are challenges. This really gives the kids the support and the vision. It connects them with mentors who've been through similar situations. It connects them to a group with other kids that face similar challenges and provide support to the families and the yeshivas to help the kids make it all the way through, that they should graduate and become successful members of the community.
So you've mentioned mentors and different things. So let's talk a little bit about the practicalities. How does the program run? What form does it take? And how does that basically deliver for these young people?
So the basics of the program, every week we have a number of groups. The groups meet in a local kollel. They're kind of connected to night kollels around the neighborhood. This, number one, connects the kids to the community directly, to a community kollel, to a local shul, places where maybe they felt uncomfortable going or didn't necessarily see themselves fitting in. It gives them a group atmosphere so that they know also that they're not alone. It also connects them with mentors who, on the one hand, learn with them and gives them a positive experience and learning. No pressure, no judgments. They just come as they are. And then afterwards, the learning is about 45 minutes. Afterwards, there's another 45 minutes where they just hang out with the Avrechim and see that they're regular people, normal guys, grew up, had similar challenges to them, and they get to talk and schmooze about whatever comes up. Sometimes the Avrechim will bring up something. Sometimes the kids bring up issues that just generate naturally. But it creates an environment where the kids can really be themselves and talk about their week, their month, their year, and the challenges that they're facing.
So it's really framed as a learning support program. People will go to have a chavrusa with not necessarily support, but a learning program with an avrech. But the avrech also doubles as a mentor, and they build those connections.
Yes.
Great. In terms of people who make aliyah, and mentioned before we started the interview that a lot of our neighborhood is filled with people who have made aliyah, made that journey to come and live in Israel. When it comes to aliyah, what are some of the main aliyah-related challenges that you've noticed when it comes to working with the young people that you do?
I think that when people make aliyah, obviously they're coming to a new environment, and they're busy trying to figure out the language and the culture and how things work over here. And when they come into the school systems, often the academics could be demanding. And as we know with children, when demands are strong, it doesn't always help build the strongest self-image when somebody cannot keep up with those demands. And so the ability through this program to be able to focus in on each individual, and not just as a whole, not as an industrial package, but to be able to focus on each individual, build them up, and give them the strength and the fortitude to be able to really succeed is critical.
Chanach l'nar al pi darko embodied.
That's right.
Someone who's listening to this, maybe they have concerns and say, oh yeah, my kid could benefit from this, or this strikes a chord with me. What could they do? What's the steps that they should take to get involved?
So, the first step, you can get in touch with Hakshiva. We do a lot of outreach. We go into the schools, we approach them and ask them if they want to start a group. We go to the shuls, but you can speak to your shul, your Rav, your Menahel, your Rosh Hashiva, and ask them to get in touch with Hakshiva. You're interested in starting a group, you see that your son and his friends would benefit from such a thing, they can reach out to us also, and we can start a group.
Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody who is struggling. You said before, preventative.
Correct.
My kids could benefit from this.
Correct.
I'm going to call Hakshiva up and I'm going to see what's going on. Okay.
I would also say that it's important to note that coming to this program does not mean that you have an issue. Coming to this program means that you want to help your kid succeed and get stronger, and which parent doesn't want that for their kid? And so to be able to take a kid in and realize that yes, they're doing average in school, but every kid has their things, and to be able to bring them in and help them become the stronger person that you want them to be is something that really all parents want.
Anytime a family moves, there's an upheaval, that's a risk factor. Anytime a family loses a support system or there's a change, not to mention other issues if there's learning challenges that a kid has, things go on in a family. All those things don't necessarily mean there's an issue that will come, but it's a risk factor that if something happens down the line, it could trigger something. So that we're in place to help. So certainly anyone who makes aliyah already has like those risk factors. And I think something that differentiates this community, then there have been other Anglo communities that have sprouted up before, whereas the goal was really like, you're just gonna jump in and your kid's gonna learn how to swim and you'll be the English speaker in the back of the shul. Whereas Ramat Beit Shemesh is really, I think we've been through the decade in the 90s of the kids at risk and the decade of like the kids that are being abused, and so many parents now, they wanna bring with them their values and their principles and their priorities and be active and involved in their kids' chinuch. And so you see in the community for sure that like people just want to be involved in their children's success. and not just rely on the system. And we're slowly building up the support and the resources for that. And so that's what this program is all about, just giving those kids the ability and the resources and the support to make it all the way through, and keeping the parents involved as well.
The Avreichim that you talk about, do they go through some kind of a training? They meet with you guys first? It's not just like, this guy's an Avreich, he can do it.
We have a vetting system. People apply. Not everyone is meant for outreach. Once they apply, and we do a background check for sure, we have training sessions that we do. There's a few, just to kick them off and to start off at the beginning. Basic outreach techniques, how to connect with kids, an overview of some of the things they might hear, troubleshooting, and we give them the knowledge of like when you hear A, B, and C. So like, what do you do? Don't freak out. How to react? Most importantly, like, who do you refer to? They can come to me, or they can go directly to Hakshiva. They can go to Adi Khan, Yossi Wachtel, other people, so that the kid is not, again, just like falling between the chairs, as they say. He's getting referred to the proper services that he needs.
In the short time we have left, do you have maybe a story, a success story that you could point to that maybe punctuates some of the parts of the program that you run?
The first group of boys that we worked with, who are actually graduating this week. They're graduating the program, graduating from yeshiva. They've made it. They've all been accepted to post-high school yeshivas, yeshiva gedolas. We've successfully bridged them. Their 9th grade in yeshiva katana, in yeshiva tichoni, was Corona. They never really connected with the program, never got into their ma'arechet, their daily schedule, and it was difficult. And the yeshiva, not everyone from that group made it through. The kids that didn't join the B'nai Aliyah, they didn't make it to graduation, but they didn't get into the learning in school. They didn't connect so much. They ended up being more homebodies and looking for something else and being dissatisfied. And year to year, it was a question with the yeshiva, like, are they going to make it? Are we going to continue again? But through the support with the Avreichim, we worked with the yeshiva. The yeshiva brought us in even more to sometimes run night programmings and Bein Hazmanim programs, because they saw what we were doing for these kids, and they made it all the way through, Baruch Hashem. Another story, there was a boy in the program who also was struggling in yeshiva, wasn't happy, maybe wasn't in the right yeshiva environment for him, needed something a bit different. So the yeshiva was asking him to leave. That is a critical moment where you have a good kid who's just not necessarily doing anything wrong, he's just in the wrong type of place. In that interim, when his parents are trying to find him the right place, that is a moment where a kid usually falls. And we were able to hold that boy. The Avreichim were in constant touch with him, constant connection. He still came to the program because it wasn't in school. He was able to stay with the group. And even after he transitioned, we helped him find a new place, and he transitioned in, he would come back. It was in Yerushalayim, but he would come back once a week to continue to meet with us until he felt comfortable enough in there to kind of let go. And so we successfully helped him transition from one yeshiva to another without falling in between.
Amazing. Finally, why do you believe it's important for people to support Hakshiva in the work they do, maybe as it pertains to this program as well, and what impact does that have on the wider community?
As a parent, the best thing you could do for your child is to build resilience so that as they go out to the world, they have what it takes to be successful. That's what we try to do here at Hakshiva.
Well, hope you enjoyed that. That was our chance to catch up with the B'nai Aliyah program, Ari Deutsche and Asana Good. Very interesting to hear their perspectives on things. And one of the only times we had a double act on our interview programs. The theme this year, of course, is resilience. As you can see on the screen behind me, almost there. Why am I telling you that? We're over 90% of the way to the goal. We're $325,000, which is fantastic. It's so close in some ways to $360,000. And on the other hand, it is fairly far because it's short of that amount by about $35,000. So $17,000 or so will do it. So get on with it. I mean, please, could you donate $17,000? Thank you so much. In the meantime, still to come on tonight's program, we have more live action here in the studio. We're going to have a chance to hear from the CEO of Hakshiva, Rav Sprigler, about the operations that they run over here, and the executive director, David Sipper, about the machinations of what goes on behind the scenes in Hakshiva, why we're running this campaign in the first place, what the work they do is, as we move towards the final part of this campaign and getting our goal. Yes, it's true, the actual campaign runs for another best part of an hour and a half or so, but this broadcast finishes. What will you do with your lives when you haven't got the prattling on of a person with this non-accent to fill your lives with what can only be described as stress, probably. But what will happen? I don't know. You'll have peace and quiet for a start. But in the meantime, it would be nice if we're on air and we get to our goal. So please, 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 if you're going to donate now. Somewhere over here is the donate now button. You can see people kind of, their names scrolling along the screen over here. That could be you. In the very short space of time, all you have to do now is donate. Even if it's what you consider a small donation, you'll still make it onto the big screen. This could affect your life no end. And it'll definitely contribute towards helping Hakshiva continue the wonderful work they do. Every donation that you make is in fact doubled. Our generous team of matching sponsors have stepped up yet again to help us reach our goal. So every donation you make is doubled. For example, if you donate 10 shekels, it'll become 20 shekels by magic. Poof, just like that. If you give $10,000, it'll become $20,000 just like that. Poof, just like that. And if you give $17,000, we could all go home. So if you give $17,000 and you help us get towards our goal of $360,000, which of course is the name of the game to try to help Hakshiva to continue the wonderful work they do. Tonight we've already heard from a range of experts. We had Shalom Iskowitz, we had Steve Brown. Steve Brown, by the way, as I mentioned before, he was actually helping it to meet out the product of last year's campaign of the ADHD awareness and the centre they're building, and he was involved in that. And we heard from him before, and that has helped us to transition this year to a very different focus, which is one of helping people build resilience and helping people deal with adversity. I was going to say helping people deal with diversity, but diversity is often considered a good thing. But help people deal with adversity, and no more time would be more pertinent to talk about adversity than the past year of what people have been going through and enduring, not least of which many of our young people. And that is really the focal point of what Hakshiva centres on. Having started, as we heard yesterday, 20 years ago, in basically a small setting, in a caravan and whatever it is, here we are now in a building and a centre of operations that Hakshiva really does the most unbelievable work in. We'll hear a bit more about it soon, live in the studio. In the meantime, we're going to go for a short break, and we're going to come back, and hopefully at that point, or around that point, not committing, we'll have the CEO and Chief Executive of Hakshiva with us here to talk about things live in the studio. Don't go away, we'll be back very, very shortly.
In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
And realizing that it's okay to admit that I am vulnerable.
When should I involve a professional?
The dynamics of the family changes when every single child is succeeding.
We have a continually growing array of programs that are suited and tailored to the needs of the community.
At Hakshiva, we help families build their resilience to be able to then help their children to succeed.
Hakshiva's vision is to build resilience into each individual.
Our ADHD Center helps building resilience exactly for these kind of situations.
Hakshiva builds the resilience that is so needed in these hard and difficult times.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
all of us face challenges. I look at people who come in for help as heroes. All this has made Hakshiva realize how important it is, more than ever, for all of us to tap into our inner resilience. Resilience is the opposite of helpless. You're not helpless. Dig deeper, find your strength. You are bigger than life challenges.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
Coming to this program means that you want to help your kid succeed and get stronger. Which parent doesn't want that for their kid?
Families make Aliyah, and they want to see that not just their Aliyah is successful, they want to see their kids grow and become successful members of the community. So this really gives the kids the resilience to make it through.
The best thing you could do for your child is to build resilience so that as they go out to the world, they have what it takes to be successful. That's what we try to do here at Hakshiva.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
אין קפסולה של חוסן. לא אכפת לו בדיוק כמה איומים קיומיים יש על ישראל וכמה איומים קיומיים יש על העם היהודי. הוא בסוף מסתכל על אמא ואבא. אם הוא רואה אמא ואבא, שלמרות כל הקושי, מצליחים לשמור על חיוך ועל אווירה נעימה, מגדל בריא יותר בנפשו.
אז הצטרפו אלינו לשידור חי ביום ראשון, שני, 15 ו-16 לספטמבר, על נושא של החוסן. Welcome back to the Hakshiva studio. We're here. If you look around, you will see that we are not with the CEO of Hakshiva and not with the executive director of Hakshiva. Why not? Because we like to keep you on your toes and we like to keep you surprised. And it's a mystery. They're not here. Ooh, where are they? They are here. They will be here. They will be on that couch that you can't see on your camera. They'll be there. Can we have a shot of the couch without them on it? Can we see the couch? There they are. You see, nothing up my sleeves here. You're absolutely nobody here. But they will be. You have to believe it. If you believe it, it'll happen, please God. Even if he tarries, we have to believe that he will be here. That's true of Mashiach, but it might be true of other people too. In the meantime, we're back in our campaign. We are over 90% of the way there. I don't know the exact figure, but we are definitely pushing towards 360% with $326,000. That is good. It's 90%, but it's not 100%. And if you don't know too much about mathematics, the best part of about 10% is missing. Oh, that's not much, you might think. It's only 10% of $360,000. It's like, what's that? $36,000. Well, in Judaism, 18 is an auspicious number. It's the gematria of the word chai, which is considered significant and auspicious. And you know what's considered significant as well? The number 1,000. So why would not give $18,000? And then you will not only have all of those numeric advantages, but also have given us the final 36 we need to get to 360 big ones. So please, 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 if you haven't donated yet, now is the time. If you thought, I want to be one of the last people to donate, well, you can be, because now is your chance. As they say, Zuizim Makdim mitzvahs. People who are alacritus run to do these mitzvahs, and some people like to hold out for the big one. If you're that person, you've arrived. This is the time to let rip that big one over there, somewhere over here. is a button that's, well, somewhere over here is a button that says donate now on this screen. You can try and click that and nothing will happen. It'll be about the same amount of effect if I try to click it. Nothing happens. It's just on a screen, doesn't mean anything. But what does mean something is the button over here on your screen that says donate now. That is a yellow button, and if you click on it, you'll be able to find a little space in which to put in a figure and your financial details, and then you'll be able to add whatever figure that is. That will be doubled by the generous matching donors of Hakshiva who have stepped up once again to help Hakshiva continue the wonderful work they do. Every donation you make is doubled. As I said before, if you do happen to have 18,000 big ones lying around, that can be converted through the magic of matching campaign funding to $36,000. So make sure, if you haven't done it yet, you bring your funding in now. And if you think you want to donate again, or you want to get someone else to donate, really, now's the time to do it. It's like 30 minutes left of the broadcast. Oh, but there's another hour left of the campaign. Yes, but let's do this online so we can actually get this done and I can enjoy it as well. So please, if you haven't donated, and even if you have, if you want to do it again, do so. Donate down here. We will be live in the studio. Well, we are live in the studio. We are live in the studio, and we will be live in the studio. But next time we're back, you won't just have to hear the endless prattlings of this creature, but in Yirtzeh Hashem, God willing, we will also have here the CEO of Hakshiva, Rav Matzia Shpigler, as well as the Chief Executive of Hakshiva, with David Sipper. I can't promise it'll be the next time back in the studio, but shortly. In the context of world history, it'll be shortly. So it will take 1 billion years. No, it will be shortly, please God. But in the meantime, make sure that you keep your donations coming in. And we will, if you see in the background, by the way, there's the call center. You see people like Yossi Wachtel. You might say, I know him from that video. Yes, he's here live in the building to help with Hakshiva's campaign. Everyone is involved. Everyone's getting part of the action. You can as well. We'll be back after a short break. And hopefully, maybe then, stay tuned for the mystery to see what's going to happen. Will we or will we not be on the couch with the Chief Executive and CEO of Hakshiva? Only Hashem knows, and you will soon, please God. Check it out, we'll be back soon.
In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
And realizing that it's okay to admit that I am vulnerable.
When should I involve a professional?
The dynamics of the family changes when every single child is succeeding.
We have a continually growing array of programs that are suited and tailored to the needs of the community.
At Hakshiva, we help families build their resilience to be able to then help their children to succeed.
Hakshiva's vision is to build resilience into each individual.
Our ADHD Center helps building resilience exactly for these kind of situations.
Hakshiva builds the resilience that is so needed in these hard and difficult times.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
One of the strongest elements of building resilience is stability and security. When someone makes aliyah, their stability goes through a change. And what's beautiful about Hakshiva is that there are so many different parts of Hakshiva that can help a family in different ways. There are just so many things that kids are flooded with when they enter the school system. His educational needs, his self-esteem, and overall being more confident he can actually succeed.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
There's a lot of pressure that teens don't necessarily know how to express themselves. Parents are a significant role in the situation of where their children are. Supporting Hakshiva is supporting your own community. A lot of what we do here is sitting with parents and with teens to find the right solution for that specific family, for that specific child.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience. And just like that, we're back. Well, before we went away for the break, I said to you, who knows if when we come back on the couch we will have the CEO and Executive Director of Hakshiva. Well, they're here. So the answer is Hashem knew, and you willed it into existence, and there they are. So here we have Rav Matthias Spiegler, the CEO of, on the right of your screen, of Hakshiva, and Rav David Sipper, the Executive Director of Hakshiva. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
So I guess let's backpedal a bit. Tell us a little bit about Hakshiva. It's 20 years of Hakshiva. That's a big landmark. But tell us a little bit about where we've come from and where we've got to, and then maybe we'll talk a bit about this year's campaign.
So, 20 years ago, approximately, it started off as some guys, on Martin at the time, some guys going out to the park, seeing the need that their kids who were on the street, who didn't have a place, who were not connecting, were doing all kinds of things that they shouldn't be doing. And so started a whole push to create an environment for these kids, to give them the ability to sort of reconstitute themselves, to get back on their feet and to get back into quote-unquote normative society, back into school, back into whatever it may be. And from that moment on, as the years grew, things were added like therapy, psychotherapy, a whole division was added, education department was added, remedial education and social skills and everything. Over the years, the organization grew from a little grassroots organization that handled a couple of kids from the park to a large organization that we are today. We have over 80 or 90 employees and have 3 main divisions.
So you said, it was grassroots, it was very much, in the park, on the streets. Nowadays, it's not even just confined to this building, right?
Correct.
You have stuff going on around the community, in schools.
Right. We have programs in schools. We have building Moadon in Gimel, and as well as here.
Another part of Ramat Beit Shemesh.
Pardon?
And another part of Ramat Beit Shemesh.
Yes, in Ramat Beit Shemesh Gimel, and we're expanding with the help of the community.
So, David, you're responsible for this evening. I guess this is what does it mean to be the Executive Director of Hakshiva? What does it involve? And why is what we're doing so important?
I think you've heard a lot about the importance of Hakshiva. I can just say that it's a privilege to be part of it, and we're literally saving lives. The children that we're looking after, whether it's emotionally, whether it's in schools, whether it's in the Moadon, we're doing stuff that I shudder to think, if we weren't doing it, what Ramat Beit Shemesh would look like. And I'm hoping that when we get this right, we're able to spread over our model over other places too, and Bez Hashem, we're able to make an impact there too. So if we're successful, the kids are successful. Bez Hashem, we will be with the help of the community. I'm just thinking, something in this week's parasha, if I may. There's a lot of campaigns going on in Bet Shemesh, and I get a lot of times, people that got to ask for money. And what's incredible is, what I find so moving, is they never come back to me and say, David, I've given you 6 months ago for the raffle or a year ago for the campaign, maybe leave it for this time. I have never come across that in our campaigns, and people just, even if the 3 campaigns are going on the same day, they're happy to do this. It reminds me of a story of the Satmarov. The Satmarov used to go and ask different people for different things, and every other day. So one day he sees 2 Hasidim, and the Chassid hears the Rebbe banging on the bima, and the Chassid, what's it now? Is it Chanosas Kala? Is it Amoni Yisoimim? Is it, yes, I gave for this, 2 days ago I gave for that, what's it for now? So the Satmar Rebbe called him over and said, I want to tell you something. This week's parasha, something called Vidui Maestris. Vidui Maestris means, he said to Kodesh Baruch Hu Vidui. And what's a Vidui? The Vidui is, I gave to everyone I'm supposed to. And the Pasuk says, Kisachalalas as kol masa tva oscho. And you say to Kodesh Baruch Hu, Alti Kodesh ben Abayis, I gave it to the Levi, I gave it to the Ger, I gave it to the Yosem, I gave it to Mon, I did everything you're supposed to do, I did exactly what I'm supposed to do. Strange kind of Vidui. Vidui is something we didn't do. So why is that called a vidui? I did exactly what I'm supposed to do. Question? So Satmarov says a vidui is that you remembered all the good things you did. I gave to the Levi, I gave to this, I gave to that institution, I gave to that tzedakah. When it comes to tzedakahs, forget about all the good things you do. Today is a new day. Today is a new obligation. Today is a new chiyuv. Today is a new privilege to give. And that's why I say vidui. A person remembers all the wonderful things he's done in the past, and all the times he's given to Hakshiva in the past, all the other organizations he's given to, deserves to make a vidui. I can say that our donors do not need to make a vidui. They've been generous, they've been consistent, they've been considerate, and Be'ezus Hashem, we will reach our goal. We need another $20,000 to reach our goal in the next hour and 15 minutes. Be'ezus Hashem,
where are we
will
up
get
to
there.
now? What figure are we up to now? 91%, 328,488. How do I know these
Half
things?
that, right?
Right.
Half
So,
the amount at the end. So how much is
half
that?
of that, about $25,000, $24,000.
Right. Okay, 24.
24.
Right. So Be'ezus Hashem, we will get that, and Be'ezus Hashem will reach our goal. And we just say, Kodesh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, Hashem should look down at us and get pleasure from our community, pleasure from the donors, pleasure from the board members, and especially I want to just thank very much the family Neder, who have gone way beyond their call of duty. Them and their children and the wider families and their friends have gone way beyond and they've really set an example of what a board member should be, and I thank them for that.
We had them here last night. They were sitting on this very account.
They're unbelievable. They're tremendous. And I want to thank Ramatzia. It's an absolute pleasure and privilege to be working with you together, and all the staff and all the donors. And I'd like to thank you, Mark, very much for the wonderful thing you've been doing. Yasher Koyach.
Speaking endlessly.
And live for you and all the girls who've been working extremely hard to make this work. Thank you. And of course, last but absolutely certainly not least, I want to thank the Rebbeinu Shleilam for giving us this opportunity to serve the community. We do it with humility, we do it with pride, we do it with our responsibility, and Be'ezus Hashem, we look forward to another year of growth and another year of helping everybody, young and old, to build and make a safer and stronger community.
All right, let's talk a little bit about titles here. CEO, Executive Director, these all sound very important things. What does it actually mean? Tell us about being the CEO of Hakshiva. What do you do? You rock up here during the day, and what happens? What do you do? What are your responsibilities?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to echo the words of Silver. I'm not going to repeat it because it's in the same way. So I am privileged to work with. I'm privileged to work with such an amazing team all around. I have to say that our staff is outstanding. They all are, every single one of them. What does it mean to be CEO? Well, first of all, when I came to this position about 3.5 years ago, I was on the board before that. The organization was doing well, running well, always financially strapped. That's the nature of the kind of work that we do. There's always room to grow. But as the captain of the ship, you steer it in what you believe is the right direction, with the proper eitzah, with the proper everything that you're supposed to do. Today, I can say that we have started a lot of different ventures, so to speak, that I think enhances our ability to help not just the kids but the families, because obviously there's a recognition that kids don't grow up in a vacuum, right? So for the example, the past year we started offering couples therapy so that couples can work on their shalom bayis and can work on their parenting. We're offering that now, and it's growing it's growing. On the other hand, we're trying to do a lot of preventative programs. We have this amazing program that was really started by one of our very dear and very board member, Nisan Good. And we have a lot of akar satov to him. We started this program that takes Avreichim and learns with boys from Yeshiva Ktanas, from Yeshiva Tichonit. They learn together once a week for 45 minutes, and then they schmooze like a mentor. And we've gotten incredible feedback from boys who were, let's say, getting disconnected to an extent that if we didn't intervene, then we don't know where they would end up. And then they're going back to school with tremendous gusto, with saying that they love it and they want to come back. And then we're taking our clinic where we have the psychotherapy clinic for teens, and now the adults, as I mentioned, couples, and now we're moving into the other side, giving an opportunity for families with kids between the ages of 6 and 12 to also we're developing specialized therapy for them and their families. It's a holistic concept. Parents have to be involved in their child's therapy, otherwise it won't work. And then so we're doing a lot of things, and we have our social skills, we have our remedial education. We're emphasizing a lot of that. So for me, from where I'm sitting, I just have to make sure I try to run the organization as professionally as I can, make sure that our staff is 100%, financially that we run responsibly, and the burden really is on my shoulders at the end of the day. So it's a big burden, but I carry it with a lot of love, a lot of headache, but a lot of love, and together with Reb David. And we need we listen to the community, and we hope and pray that the community, they do listen to us. They understand that without their help, we can't keep pushing the frontiers of giving the kind of help that a growing community like Ramat Beit Shemesh needs. We went from 60,000 people 10, 15 years ago to close to 200,000 people now, and the projection is in fact, I don't know if you know this, but Beit Shemesh has been rated in Israel this past year with the most amount of kids, teenagers, per capita in any city in Israel.
That's what it actually feels like.
The youngest community. Well, if you drive around 3 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, then you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot of work, but the truth of the matter is that I see myself really as, it's really my staff who do all the work. They're the ones who give all the help and therapy to the kids and to their families. I just make sure that it's done professionally. I implement certain things, but it's really, I have to say that they're outstanding people. They really are outstanding people.
I mean, we were speaking to Adi Khan earlier when we interviewed her, and I mean, it seems to be like that. Like sometimes a staff member will come up to you and say, "Hey, I've got a great idea," and it's your job to decide, can we meet it out now? Do we have the resources? Is the community ready for it? And then you're going to steer the ship in that direction. And amazing. Right. And everyone here, including yourselves, and you see just a lot of passion. And even we had Joseph Jason before coming. He's at the board. He's a board member. Who cares? Passion. So I don't have children and grandchildren here.
Right.
I'm passionate about it.
That's right.
So, David, Chief Executive of Hakshiva, what does that mean? What does it look like? What do you have to do? What's your job?
It means having Rebbe Matzi on my neck on a regular basis, making sure that enough money comes in, and chasing up the money, and looking for new ideas to expand the programs. And it's difficult. This year has been a very difficult year for many people. A lot of people's finances have suffered terribly by it. A lot of people who do have money are channeling their money to the war efforts or to other needs. And still, Baruch Hashem, I don't know where we're up to now, but we will get to our goal. But that takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of siyata dishmaya, and it takes a lot of tenacity, and Baruch Hashem, we've built very good connections, and people answer the phones, and people are happy to give. But executive director brings with it some white hairs, and I wear it with grace, and I'm happy it came from this rather than something else.
Just speaking, just a quick comment about the war effort and so on. I mean, we still see, by the way, a lot of fallout from the COVID pandemic when all the kids were home for who knows how long, and still dealing with a lot of issues there. And of course, the trauma and everything that's going on in the war effort, the kids and families, everything they've heard and seen, even if they weren't immediately involved. So, unfortunately, there's a lot to do.
We also heard from a lot of people that we met in interviews. Also here in the studio, we spoke to the Niders and Mr. Heyman and other people and Joseph, Jason before, and they all kind of centered on this idea that, you know, everyone wants to do something to help, even in the current situation. Not everyone is in a position to, you know, storm off into the distance and do something physical. And many people have given their effort to volunteering and doing other things. And a lot of people have observed that, you know, to invest in the future of this country means to invest in the young people, and taking the model of what Hakshiva does, and as you said, in many ways leading the way. There are many towns and cities across Israel that will be turning towards the model of Hakshiva to see how they can replicate the great example we have. This really is something that people have discovered is maybe primary to be donated to, particularly now. Does that make sense to you as well?
If I may add something, I met with Alan Paisner. He is as far as the chairman of OU in his office in Manhattan a while back. And we talked about the aliyah and the problems that come with people who do aliyah, sometimes at the wrong time, sometimes at the right time, but with children who don't adapt. And he mentioned something. He said an organization like ours is being watched very, very carefully. If we are successful in integrating the kids into the society, into Israel, and these kids come out normal and functioning and well, you know, doing well in the society, then people will continue doing aliyah. If we don't do well and kids do aliyah and they fall apart, then we're really stemming a lot of people coming to Eretz Yisrael and making them afraid. So I think Hakshiva, besides everything else, is a very good example of integration and allowing children to come from different environments and encouraging people, if you do move to Eretz Yisrael, we have the homework center, we have the therapy, we have everything you need in order to help that along. And as Hashem, we should all come to Eretz Yisrael in Gesundheit and with Mashiach Tzidkenu very soon.
Amen. So we're into the final 8 minutes of the broadcast, but not the last 8 minutes of the campaign. There's another hour or so, but why would you wait for the last second to be that person who gives at the end? Now it's time to give, I think, no, this is unscripted. David, what would you say? Should people donate?
People should donate, and donate
Absolutely.
big, and donate now. And let's get past this goal, and let's celebrate this together with the whole community in Klal Yisrael.
Like you said, this is our future. These kids and these families that are suffering and their kids are our future. If we don't help them, for those who need the help, then we're going to suffer.
If I was a betting man, I would probably put money in. They would have said that, and I was correct, but sadly did not place a bet, and therefore just sit here only knowing it. So, if you're still with us, then great. If not, I'm just talking to myself here. But make sure that you continue to help Hakshiva do the work they do. Down here on the kind of lower left side of your screen, I've changed the camera angle somewhere over here on the screen. There, right? There is the donate button. Make sure that you donate. And you continue to help us get our goal. We're up to where now? 92%, $331,500. That gives about $29,500 left to go. Half of $29,500 is, of course, something, which is good to know. $14,750. Is that right? Something like that. So if you have $14,750 to spare and go, what should I do with this $14,000? Darling, I just found $14,000. Give it to Hakshiva, and then we'll be there. Do it now. We'll go for a short break and we'll be back to the final minutes of the broadcast and as we enter the final hour of the campaign. Don't go away.
Thank you very much.
In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
and realizing that it's okay to admit that I am vulnerable.
And when should I involve a professional?
The dynamics of the family changes when every single child is succeeding.
We have a continually growing array of programs that are suited and tailored to the needs of the community.
At Hakshiva, we help families build their resilience to be able to then help their children to succeed.
Hakshiva's vision is to build resilience into each individual.
Our ADHD Center helps building resilience exactly for these kind of situations.
Hakshiva builds the resilience that is so needed in these hard and difficult times.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.
This campaign is about resilience. And Hakshiva is primary in building resilience, not only in kids, children, teenagers, but in entire families. Our mission at Hakshiva, after 20 years of being here for the community.
2024, the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience. Welcome back. You have no idea that 1 second ago there was a dancing man right here. You would not know that. You would just think, oh, he's just sitting there on this armchair waiting for the camera to come back on. But no, there was a dancing man 10 split seconds before the camera went live again. He disappeared. Right, we're into the final 4 minutes of the campaign. 3 minutes of the campaign. And we are still not there. We're doing well. We're not there yet. 92% still at the $332,562. Okay, better. We're not there, guys. It's the last few minutes. Let's go. If you got that big donation, let's make it happen now. We're not at 360 yet, and there's only 2.5 minutes left of the campaign. It's 93%. Where are we up to now? 337. Okay, this is what we like. Keep going, keep going. It's another $23,500 to go. That's like $11,750. No, something like that. Yeah? Donate it now! We're waiting to hear it. Have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? I'm waiting here, waiting. 2 minutes left. You know what? We're going to go for a 1 minute break. We're going to come back. I'm going to wait here to celebrate this with you. 3, 2, 1, come back.
All of us face challenges. I look at people who come in for help as heroes. All this has made Hakshiva realize how important it is, more than ever, for all of us to tap into our inner resilience. Resilience is the opposite of helpless. You're not helpless. Dig deeper, find your strength. You are bigger than life challenges.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience. We're back, 93%. We are very, very, very close. Yes, it's true the campaign runs for a little bit longer. Our broadcast ends in the next minute. How nice would it be to hit the landmark in the next 60 seconds or so? I would like to take this opportunity in the final minute of our broadcast, not the final minute of the campaign, you still have time to donate, to say a big thank you to all of the supporters of Hakshiva, all the people that have come forward to be matching donors, all of the staff of Hakshiva, the CEO of Matzah Spiegler, we just heard from just now, of Hakshiva, the executive director of Hakshiva, Rav David Seppa, all of the wider staff, the people in the call center, the people that have made this broadcast possible, live for you, Nissan, Denise, Eitan over there, Alex behind the camera, you can't see him. A big thank you to Dinner Videos, Dinner Vids, I believe they're known as, Ephraim Dinner and his wife Ricky. They've really been amazing in helping to produce and edit. We are going to extend our broadcast by those very few seconds. We'll be back in after a very short break to conclude the broadcast. Be back in a minute.
The nation is going through a major post-trauma. It's not even post. We're still in the middle of that trauma. This generation, when the temptations and the traumas are so there all the time, what the kids have is us, so we have to be there for them.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience. We're still here waiting to get to that landmark. We're almost there. That's what the screen says. The screen never lies, even if it's not correct. And this time it is correct. We are almost there. We're 93% of the way there, guys. In the closing seconds of the campaign, we have one more chance, in case you missed it before, or if you didn't miss it, to hear a closing comment from Rav Matzah Spiegler, the CEO of Hakshiva, who's going to tell us a little bit about the connection between this campaign and last campaign, and where we're going to take things in the future, please God. Rav Matzah, you wanted to say something?
Yes, thank you. We've come full circle. Last year, if you remember, our campaign centered around our ADHD clinic. You may have wondered what happened to it. We do offer certain ADHD therapies, but nothing that came out formally. So it took us the better part of a year to really nail down what we want to offer, how we want to offer it in the most professional manner, and I'm pleased to say that we are finalizing our whole slew of ADHD therapy. We've actually trained most of our therapists in additional training for ADHD specifically, to incorporate it in so that they're aware of the therapies. And Be'ezras Hashem, after the Chagim, we plan to start rolling this out. So we did this last year, we're doing it, we're coming out. This year we're talking about resilience. All of our programs, everything we do is centered around building resilience in these kids and in their families. So I personally want to thank you. I want to thank you for all your support, for your help throughout the years, now in the future. Remember that Hakshiva is there for you as families, for you as kids and your kids. And as I said before, these kids are our future. So thank you, and keep up the good work in helping us so that we can help you. Thank you.
If we've learned one thing about resilience, is that we have the capacity to bounce back and have the confidence things are going to be good. We've just gone up to 94%. We are somewhere $339,000. We are now confident that we are on the way. But if we sit here twiddling our thumbs saying, yes, I'm confident we're going to get there, then we're not going to get there. You have to take your thumbs and stop twiddling them, and use your fingers and the mouse or whatever you're going to use to click somewhere over here, the donate button, to get us over that last part of the threshold. Very confident, in Yotz Hashem, God willing, we will get to the end of our goal of $360,000. We're basically at the $340,000 mark. Please help us continue. We're looking forward to seeing you next year, please God. But for now, we're not done. We're in the final hour of the campaign. Our broadcast ends now, but the campaign continues. Please make sure that you give generously to help us reach that final part of the goal. Keep checking this page for the numbers. I'm sure you won't be able to sleep tonight unless you know that we got to the figure. If you know anyone who hasn't donated yet, please make sure they know about it, whether they live here in Ramat Beit Shemesh, here in Israel or outside of Israel, they could be part of this Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael, and all being well in the year to come, we will have fantastic news for you about a great many things, and our resilience levels will be through the roof. Again, on behalf of everyone, thank you for your donations, your support, and we look forward to seeing you next year, please God. Please help us continue the wonderful journey of Hakshiva. Good night, be well, and there should be shalom for everyone, please God.
In response to the strikes, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 30 rockets this morning at northern Israel. The Israeli Air Force later struck a Hezbollah rocket launcher. The back and forth is putting Israeli forces on high alert.
And realizing that it's okay to admit that I am vulnerable.
And when should I involve a professional?
The dynamics of the family changes when every single child is succeeding.
We have a continually growing array of programs that are suited and tailored to the needs of the community.
At Hakshiva, we help families build their resilience to be able to then help their children to succeed.
Hakshiva's vision is to build resilience into each individual.
Our ADHD Center helps building resilience exactly for these kind of situations.
Hakshiva builds the resilience that is so needed in these hard and difficult times.
So join us on Sunday the 15th and Monday the 16th of September 2024 for the Hakshiva annual live broadcast, this year on the topic of resilience.